It's the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Back and ready to go. Another 3 hours of Bassmaster Live from the 5th stop of the year for the Bassmaster Elite Series. 2020 YETI Bassmaster Elite on Lake St. Clair, this legendary fishery, known best for smallmouth here near Detroit and Macomb County, north and east of Detroit. Let's take a look at our leaderboard right now. These are unofficial weights per Bass Track, and John Cox, Florida angler, has come up to the top there in short order. We did not have him on our radar when we took our break about an hour ago, Davey.
We've been talking amongst one another this morning about, I wonder if there's anyone fishing for largemouth bass here this week. John Cox is one of those anglers that might very well be doing that.
All right, remember that we're fishing a full field today. Let's run through as many of these scores as we can. Micah Frazier, who has had a great season so far, moving up just bubbling under the top 11. Randy Sullivan having his best tournament of the season as it stands right now. Clint Davis, Todd Auten, and all the rest. Kobe Krieger, who had a good tournament on Lake Champlain, the last outing for the Bassmaster Elite Series. Ditto for Taku Ito, having a good season so far, definitely in the running for Rookie of the Year. Derek Hudnall, we're out here with him all day, so we'll be able to check in with Derek on short order.
Yeah, you're looking at that, and you mentioned Taku having a great season, no doubt about it. Got to spend some time with him up at those last two events in New York. Grew up fishing on the bank. He said, I'm not good with electronics, which totally blew me away because he's been using his electronics in these last events. So when we go down south, a lot of those anglers fishing shallower, it'll be very interesting to watch Taku.
Yeah, that may be when he comes to shine. What a great season, though, for the rookie from Japan. Take you right now through our Humminbird lay of the lake. This is an extraordinary playing field and has always provided great tournaments, great tests for the best in the business. And you can see the lighter color is the part that the anglers are actually allowed to fish. That would be the American side of Lake St. Clair that you see at the bottom of your screen, and all of Lake Huron, which you see at the top of your screen. The Quarantine Act in Canada has taken the fishing away from the American anglers for the time being. It'll change at some point, but this week it's all that. That's what you have, but that's a lot. That's deceptively a lot of water, Dave.
You're exactly right, Tommy. If you've never been to this area around Detroit, Michigan, and Lake St. Clair, the Detroit River you see there, looking at Humminbird lay of the lake, and then a little larger than half of Lake St. Clair is the Canadian water. So a little less than half, but keep in mind that's 500 square miles, that lake, Lake St. Clair, and then you look up the St. Clair River going farther north, and you see Lake Huron and a huge section of Lake Huron that these anglers are able to go up into. But this morning we've noticed a lot of the anglers choosing not even to go into Lake St. Clair or down into the Detroit River, fishing very close to Metro Park right there at the takeoff.
Yeah, absolutely. That Metro Flat out there has been well populated throughout the course of the day. Going to take you right out to the Michigan native fellow who has won here with the Bassmasters on Lake St. Clair. Here's Chad Pipkins.
Got on the fall, was mush. His buddy's got it. Here we go. Come on. Lay down. There we go. These are the right fish here. Stay pegged, baby. It's a big one. Stay down, stay down. No, it's not a big one. It's bigger than the ones we got. What's it gonna feel like when we catch a big one? Woo! It's gonna feel good is what it's gonna feel like. Hope there's about 15 of them over there, a bunch of 4 to 5 pounders. Uh-huh. She thinks she's big. Come here, buddy. Come here, pal. Oh, sorry. Strong feller, but not a big one. We're gonna get him figured out. Well, that's 5. The 5 that we certainly don't want to take with us, but it's 5 anyhow. We'll call it, man, all like quarters of 5. I'm just getting ready to start tossing them here. We should get bit right when we stand up. Hopefully it's a big one. Missed that first one right away.
Well, 5 2-pounders for Chad Pipkins they are not good candidates for the weigh-in. You do not want to take those 5 to the weigh-in. Certainly a different story today than it was a year ago on fabulous Lake Fork in Texas. The Toyota Bassmaster Texas Fest, and Chad Pipkins with his crankbait getting some outstanding work done, David.
He found a mega school there on Lake Fork. There's lots of big fish there, but they're not always so easy to find. Chad Pipkins certainly found the right size there at Lake Fork. Caught his personal best 5-fish limit.
Biggin. Oh my God, that's there. That's, oh my God. Please stand. Oh no, don't do it. Oh God, no. Oh my God. Oh my God. Please, Lord, let me land this fish. Where you going? Where you going? Please, God, stay on there. Oh no. Oh my God. Please, God, stay. Come on, baby, please. Come on. Yes! Woo! New personal best! Oh my God! Yes! Woo! That's got to be a 10-pounder, or at least an 8 or 9-pounder, right?
One of the great moments from 2019. We had him in the studio later, supposedly for an interview, but it was really just for him to say it again. New personal best. Where did that fish rank all time with him? I think it was.
What's in his? What is it? Personal best?
Yeah, I think it was his personal best. That's right. It was his Chad Pipkins.
So that's a Michigan angler that got to visit Lake Fork for, I think, his first time. You catch your personal best there on a Bassmaster Elite tournament.
That's it. That's it.
I haven't been in the right place at the right time yet. We're getting close. It can happen quick. I mean, if we catch a good one, we should catch a couple others. There's a nice strip of grass up here. Or I caught some. They weren't big. They were 3-pounders, but the big ones literally could have moved here back to there. So just trying to bounce around a little bit until I get a good bite, and then I'll settle in a little bit. It's just, I know I'm around the right stuff. I gotta make it happen here because the weather is right. 10 to 15 mile an hour south winds. They are biting right now, and I need to be a part of it. So that's the plan.
Known for the new personal best. Also known for endless optimism. He's not a glass half full guy. This glass is going to flood the gymnasium.
Yes, he definitely is. But we expect, maybe at Lake Fork when he's the optimist, he did make it happen last year, but you're a little suspect. But here at Lake St. Clair, I truly believe he's been disappointed by some smaller fish this morning, but before this day is over, he's going to get around the right ones. He told me the first day of practice he had a chance to catch a quote-unquote big bag.
All right.
Next day they were gone. Hopefully he's going to run into that same school of fish today.
Good.
We didn't give a weight on that personal best. I
barrier.
think it was 810 is almost what he's got 5 fish today.
We will.
It was an 810. Okay.
Surely.
Again, this is some footage from earlier this morning. A limit of 5 for Chad, but you can see that's typical of the size right there.
Just not the ones you want to take to the scales. With only 5 fish you can bring to the scales, a 5-fish limit, minimum 14 inches. But you don't bring 14 inches to the scales at Lake St. Clair. You will be in 85th place.
No,
or 84th at least.
You need it. If you can get an average of about twice that, you'd be looking good for the rest of the tournament.
Yes.
Unless you really drop the ball tomorrow. All right, another angler we saw late in our morning session rise to the top of the leaderboard. And this man here, Chad Morgentaler, had a good tournament on the St. Lawrence. Last day kind of took him out of it, but up to then he was splendid up on Lake Ontario.
Great example of momentum in our sport. Chad not having the year he had wanted up until he made this swing. It's had a good tournament or two and seems to be just very comfortable, and not surprising at all to see him having a good event again here this week.
He is currently in second place right now to John Cox.
Seth Fighter there. It's like picking up an ice bag or something. Somebody
Nice.
lost out of the boat. Good of him picking that up, getting it out of a beautiful Lake St. Clair.
Boy, the water sure is gorgeous here. It's
is.
It's just incredible.
You have no idea where that bag could have came from, Dave. It could have came from 450 miles away. Like you don't.
Yeah, really,
you
really
don't
could
ever
have.
where it's flowing
Duluth,
from.
yeah.
Chad's interesting. He's up there with the Johnstons, like you said, a good northern swing in New York. I mean, they were in 72nd, 73rd considerations for points, and now he's up there in the 40s, not far from the classic line, just after 2 tournaments. So another good tournament. Obviously, a good day one to start here. 1/4 of the way there.
He's our first guy out, I think, Chad Morgan-Taylor is.
Yeah, he's 41st.
You see Seth Fighter there on the left, reeling in very fast. He obviously saw a good fish on his graph just below the boat. Let's see if he can get him to bite. Heard Zona say this morning that he noticed these fish being boat shy. I heard a couple of the anglers talking about not being able to get a lot of the fish that you see directly under your boat and get them to bite, and that's normally not the case here. A lot of pressure these last few months on Lake St. Clair.
Uh-oh. Looking at Bass Track, Fighter's pre-tournament prediction is going to be spot on compared to what we thought. He said, there's so many, over half the field catching 20-pound bags at minimum last year.
One there.
Bunch more 17 to
that thing down
18.5 pound
feet.
bags. Just a slight difference because the fish are a little skinnier.
There's a lot of
than
walleye
in the
out here
fall.
too. That's what's
Not too early, I think, to start predicting
What's
how many
deceiving.
20-pound bags today.
There's a lot of other fish too. But
Think about it. Get it on your mind.
you
I
can
think
catch
that's
just about whatever you want to fish for, and some of the things you don't want to fish for.
Seems like that's the right time, Tommy. Once we see an angler on
this
Bass
might
Track
be a
hit
good one.
20,
I got one followed it up there.
start doing the predictions.
Only 50 guys last year, but 14 of them had 20-pound bags on day one last year.
It's interesting to watch what Chad's doing there. He's got a fish that he can see up high in the water column and follow his bait in. He's pitching that drop shot out, which typically drop shot is a bottom bouncing lure or technique, and he's pitching this bait out and just sees his fish a few feet under the water trying to get it to bite.
Come on, babies, where are you at?
It's pretty magical when you can see, the fish underneath the water and,
Yes.
and what you learn watching those fish.
No, he's watching them with his electronics, not visually with his
so,
eyes.
Not
no,
as magical
he's
than,
watching his he's watching his bait hit the water and get down on the plane that the fish is in the water column, and there he is, got him.
Gosh, dang it.
Stay in the boat.
I knew he was going to get him to bite. Yeah, he was following him around with his graph.
dog. Felt like a pretty good one too. Man, there's a lot of walleye out here too. It might have been a toothy critter. Just came off. Dadgummit. This is a little, so this is another Berkeley Scent Max bait, but it's called the Hitworm. It's just a little bit bigger than the flatworm that I used when I was in St. Lawrence. So I wanted to, well, one, I ran out of the flatworms that I really wanted. I wasn't able to get any more, so I had some of these left. I've got a few, and then lo and behold, they start biting them pretty good. So, and the size seems to be just a little bit better on this bigger bait. So I tried some other things, and just that Scent Max just really seems to help that bite.
So there's your AFCO Taste of Bait from Chad Morgan. He is totally just scanning with his, well, I don't know if he's got Mega 360 or Panoptics, but whatever unit he's got, he's just scanning with his electronics to find a fish, and then he makes his cast to that fish.
At a certain point, Davey, it seemed pretty calm this morning. We talked about the wind going from the south, not the direction that the anglers necessarily would like because it's going against the current. But at a certain point this morning, it was pretty flat, and then it starts getting an uptick in wind. Is there a certain point today when that wind does completely impact it, and then you get those defined lines? It's kind of mixing it right now, but then it'll make that defined line after 3-4 hours of sustained wind?
Yeah, I think the fish just, it takes them a little while to adjust and set up, and then it takes these anglers a little while to figure out where they have moved to and how they positioned.
Chad Morgan-Taylor, 41st in Angler of the Year. Points 10th place is Seth Fighter. Seth Fighter having a good northern swing here, especially last outing at Lake Champlain, and this was earlier what we saw from him this morning.
Saw a lot from him last year. Throwing a crankbait, it's surprising. He said he did not have the practice that he did last year. Was a little pessimistic, I guess, this morning, but he came out 7:34, getting his first fish in live well. The average size fish is definitely a little smaller for Seth Fighter today, but he's having a good tournament. He's having a good start, showing, 19 pounds unofficially, so not a bad start at all for Seth Fighter. Steady, just catching fish steady. Last year we saw him had a few key areas where he'd catch a fish every cast for 10, 15, 20 casts in a row, and then that would basically be it. Today he's been slow and steady, but still having a great tournament. Seth Fighter is.
Last year he started it off by going to the buoy chain there. The chain on a buoy and a community hole, and catching just enough to get himself in that top tier. We put the gas on after that and never looked back. Really
surprised. Last year he had a crankbait in his hand 95% of the time, and have not even seen him throw one this morning. We've seen some of the anglers, other anglers, Stetson Blaylock in particular, catching them on the crankbait this morning.
Going to have our eyes on Seth Fighter. We'll be in the boat with him all afternoon. We're taking you all the way to 2 Eastern time today. John Cox, after our noon break, a man who shows up on top of the leaderboard. Try to flesh out that story for you as well. Chad Morgan-Taylor, we just saw him. Kind of got a good grip on what he's doing. Chris Johnston had moved up in the leaderboard, fallen a little bit. Now he's back up into 3rd place. So we're going to take ourselves a quick break and be right back to Lake St. Clair.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Wherever the trail gets rough and the mud gets deep, you'll find a Toyota Tacoma. It's the best-selling compact pickup in America for 12 years, and it's not because we baby them. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
At Mercury, we invested thousands of hours of engineering manpower so you can enjoy hours and hours of untapped horsepower. Introducing the all-new V6 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly. At Mercury, there are no limits to what we'll do to make sure you have no limits either. Introducing the all-new V8 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories. Fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is brought to you by Power Pole, Skeeter Boats, Yamaha, and by Toyota.
Got a lot of Bassmaster elite level fishing to offer you this week. This is only day one of 4 days of fishing. Halfway through that day on Lake St. Clair, getting close to the halfway point anyway. And John Cox, first year fishing with the Bassmaster Elite Series, making his first appearance in the #1 spot. He was set to have a good tournament. Ticonderoga there on Lake Champlain. Ticonderoga he showed up. Ticonderoga did not show up with the fish there.
Definitely did not. And we see one change on Lake St. Clair. More wind than we saw earlier this morning. Now, that right there is good to go. That makes usually better fishing and doesn't beat you up too bad, but we hope it doesn't pick up and get any more wind than about that right there.
And pretty normal. This is, I mean, it's hard on a big open Great Lake to have much less than that on days.
All right, well, one angler who's moved well up that leaderboard, up near the very top, is Corey Johnston of Canada, winner of St. Lawrence, Lake Ontario. No, excuse me, that was Chris Johnston I was talking about. This is Corey Johnston, who's also made a great move up the leaderboard. And Dave Mercer is standing by with Corey Johnston. Okay. Oh, well, he's had to move on.
He's looking for his keys.
He's looking for his keys. That's right.
Lost in the water.
They magnetized him up. All right, we'll get back to you. Apologize for that, but Dave Mercer will be back out there at Corey Johnston's spot.
We're fishing near John Cox is Bill Lowe, and he just got into our top 10 with 17.5 pounds.
Oh, that sounds like some largemouth to me, Bill Lowen and John Cox.
You got to think.
That would make this tournament interesting to get a little largemouth fishermen involved with these smallmouth anglers like Seth Fighter.
He's just ghosting me. Wish I knew where they went. No, I'm back to the little one. 2 fish I caught on the big one was a bass that big and a rock bass. All the 5s I caught in practice were on this little one, so. Back to the baby.
Seth talking about the size of his soft plastic jerkbait he's using there. It seems like he's gotten the bigger bites on the smaller bait. That's really not unusual for fish that have been pressured a lot. A lot of tournaments going on here on Lake St. Clair in the last few months.
Now, 20 years ago, more than half the field would be out there slinging a tube around, right?
Tubes, spinner baits.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Few sneaky crankbaits here and there.
Not near as many as you see now, right?
No, not near as many. Fish were just, I don't want to say untapped or not pressured, but it was almost that way. I mean, they would attack a 3/4 ounce solid chartreuse with chartreuse blade spinner baits. I mean, that's just, now you could probably throw one for 2 weeks and not catch many on it there. They just have to get a lot more a natural presentation, something. And the lake's cleared up. The visibility's in the water itself is much clearer than it was 20 years ago. The big thing to me is surprising we're not seeing anglers in the St. Clair River. The lake has changed. 20 years ago, by this time of the year, there would be a lot of fishermen and a lot of fish in the St. Clair River, but I don't think those fish migrate in that river like they once did. And the only thing I think, the reason for that would be the gobies that are in the lake now that weren't there 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you won, you averaged 17 pounds a day over 4 days, and now the guys need at least 21, 22 the last couple tournaments here.
Seth Fighter, going to be one of those guys that's, again, we start thinking about how many 20-pound bags are going to be. You figure he's going to be one of those guys. With one of them, Seth Fighter, also another one of these guys with a ton of momentum coming from the last event, Lake Champlain.
Yes, sir.
Man, oh man, getting it done with smallmouth early in the day and switching directions halfway. It was a marvel.
I'll have to admit that with his combination of catching smallmouth in the morning and then going to his largemouth, I thought Seth Fighter would be unbeatable here on Lake Champlain, but his largemouth just went away.
Yeah. He seemed to be totally in control of the tournament there. But boy, on day number 2, we saw an example of just how good it was for him.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, come here, come here, woo! Oh my God, it's a 6-pounder, dude. Boom! Give me some. Where's Noah? Freaking Kong! Oh my God. Oh my God. We're gonna go out and call. Did you see that big giant come out of that pontoon? Feels right, don't it? It's gonna be a good week.
So Seth Fighter has caught a lot of 6-pounders, but at Lake Champlain, you don't see 6-pound largemouth every single day, especially when you're not in Ticonderoga.
No.
Being on the end of the lake they were, not too far from Plattsburgh, catching a 6-pounder is a game changer there for Seth Fighter.
That wasn't his personal best, but he did have a personal best human he posted when the birth of his daughter, Violet, last week, 8/11. He said, personal best human. I enjoyed that.
Well, I'm glad we got that footnote in there. Actually, that's kind of important, Sush. That's pretty good. Thank you. All right.
Did you notice the luscious green grass that fish was living in there?
Get back out now to Chad Pipkins. He felt like he was getting them dialed in, or maybe about to get them dialed in, and he's hooked up now.
This one looks like a crankbait. He's been fishing primarily with a drop shot, hopefully. It's a bigger one.
Bigger than the ones we got, I guess. Slow it down there, little girl. Oops, sorry, you're getting wet, buddy. Not a giant, but. Come here, little feller. Well, it's a bass. It ain't a giant one, but we're getting closer. It's gonna happen. Good news is she done got it. Got the whole front hook. If I can get it off.
Looks like his first crankbait fish for Chad Pipkins.
Maybe that's the way of the next hour or so for Chad Pipkins. We will be back to check on him, that is for sure. For now, though, still John Cox with the lead ounces ahead of Chad Morgan-Taylor, Chris Johnston, and Corey Johnston. Two brothers from Canada, both in the top 5. Fighter hanging in there in a tie with Corey Johnston. Jay Ellis, Drew Benton, Austin Felix, Brock Mosley, and now Bill Lowen has joined the top 10. So things are changing as we speak. Taking a break, coming right back.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
native son gets it done. Jordan Lee, back-to-back domination, unbelievable.
Fish and win with Skeeter Real Money. Fish out of your Skeeter boat, win a Skeeter approved contingency paying event, and you could add $5,000 to your winnings. Just enter, fish, and win. It's that easy. Rules and conditions apply. Visit SkeeterBoats.com and click the Real Money logo to register and learn more, or visit your local Skeeter dealer. Fish, win, get paid. Up to $5,000. Go to SkeeterBoats.com and see why now is the best time to enter, fish, and win with Skeeter Real Money.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
We're so lucky to be able to have live, big-time, top-level events here in our sport in these difficult times, but bass fishing is a perfect candidate. Every precaution can be observed, and we're going to carry on with more of the same for you tomorrow right here, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll crank it up with our morning session, 3 hours in the morning. Take our customary break at noon of 1 hour and be back at 11 a.m. Eastern Time to take you all the way to 2 Eastern Time. John Cox, the man on top. Chad Morgan-Taylor and Chris Johnston. Very close. Actually, Jay Ellis tied with Chris Johnston as well. Seth Fighter, we spent a lot of time with Seth Fighter today. Seems to be pretty confident about what he's doing better than he expected to. That is for sure. Ray Hanselman, the Texan, now makes his first appearance, I should say, in the top 10. See the 8 anglers with whom we're spending the day in the boat all day long. We just saw during the break there, if you were watching, Dustin DeMarion.
Right on him.
To show you what happened.
Much slower day than anticipated from Dustin.
Come on.
He's
got him.
There we go.
Biggin.
He was looking at that fish with his electronics there. It's like a really good fish the way it's fighting.
Come on, baby. Oh gosh, it's a giant. It's a freaking monster, dude.
Oh wow. Gotta look at him there. It is a big one.
Has got some shoulders
Monster.
on.
Guides on Lake Erie, he knows what a big smallmouth looks like. When he says a monster, it's gonna be a good one.
Come here, baby.
Oh.
Yeah! 5.5. I told you it lives out here. Woo!
5.5.
Ooh, that's the biggest one we've seen today, if true.
Already got 2 other nice ones, a 4.5 and a 3.5.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that thing. Oh, my gosh.
Change the mood of your day right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
5.5 pounder, fish number 4 for Destin.
Boat becomes a happier place at that point,
Yes.
exactly at that moment.
Dude, talk about get you jacked up. Oh my gosh. I just finessed that one a little bit too. I dropped it on him, he didn't eat it. I was picking it up a little bit and he grabbed that sucker. Oh my gosh. Just keep grinding, man. Anything can happen. Gosh dang it. Can you believe the size of these fish out here, man? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Dude, that is why I love fishing. That's why I love tournament fishing.
That one's fed up.
So you see him out there just in big open water, and he mentioned that's where these bigger fish seem to live, but he's not just randomly casting. He's casting not only at patches of grass and targets, but he physically saw that fish with his electronics out from the boat, made a couple different casts to it, and finally get it to bite. Just amazing how far our sport has come with the advancement of the electronics.
Could be the witching hour. Jay Ellis just caught a 4-pound, 5-ounce fish. He's over 20 pounds, almost 20 and a half. He's back in first place.
Wow.
Would you say DeMarion was destined to catch a giant today? I mean, I'm
on.
sorry.
You've been waiting all day for
I've
that.
been waiting
You
all
are
day
a
for
caution, I should say. My word.
You're getting better and better. Sitting by Such each and every day.
Yeah.
that. I'll definitely get something sent beside Such for sure.
There's a salve for that.
So here's another great example. You see Chad Morgan-Taylor not even making a cast. He's got his drop shot weight in his hand. You see him with this drone shot. You can see him just scanning the front of the boat left and right like radar, looking for a fish to make a cast to.
Jay Ellis is our leader. You know, he's staying with Art Ferguson, 4-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier.
Oh, yeah, he's a
two-time winner.
very, very good fisherman on this lake.
Art Ferguson made him cut the grass last night. There's a post that Jay Ellis was cutting his yard in St. Clair Shores.
What do you do, break a window or something?
I don't know. Maybe just to stay there and be fed. I don't know.
Okay.
Not touching that. Yeah, Art's a good fisherman. Did some guiding down in Florida, I think, during the winter. and would
Okeechobee,
fish
which
up here.
the
Yep.
two identical lakes, as we were talking
Yep.
about earlier. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, I'm going to move back up there. Do you want her with you?
So
Okay.
that is our camera woman, Ashley, in the
There's
boat with
Ashley
Chad.
Morgan. Yeah.
The Mark he was referring to, I think, was Mark B.A.S.S.
Yeah.
Mark Zona. It's weird to hear him call him Mark.
Who's he talking to?
Zona.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Mark, I called him that the first time I met him, and I realized it was Zona after that. You just, Mr. Mark sounds weird.
So it's great footage there. You can see with the drone how he's just scanning back and forth with his trolling motor in front of his boat, looking for one of those smallmouth roaming around on that flat to make a presentation to.
And you were talking earlier today how it's not recognizable to a lot of old schoolers to see a guy not even cast until he sees a fish.
Oh.
But I think it was DeMarion that said, "I'm trying to be efficient here."
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay.
And it's like you're wasting time. Put your lure in the
why
water.
is it not wet? Yeah.
But they have so much confidence in their electronics that if they don't see a fish, there's no need to make a presentation.
Especially for the featureless aspect of
Sure.
St. Clair.
Yeah.
Not a bunch of nooks and crannies. Fish could get lost in the graph and you not see them.
Yes.
Jay Ellis, a good call he just made. We just got a report from that. From Such and John Coxon right behind, Chad Morgan-Taylor, Chris Johnston, and Seth Fighter. Having a great time here on this fishery, which is so productive. Just one of the, really, not one of the Great Lakes, but it's in between a couple of them, and it certainly fishes like one of the best of the smallmouth Great Lakes environments here. Lake St. Clair, and we got plenty more coming your way. Take a break. We'll be right back.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new Tour Grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
Born in Japan, Sunline has over a 40-year history of making the best fishing lines. With 10% of the company's employees focusing on research and development, Sunline is driven to offer the widest selection of bass fishing lines in the U.S. market. Sunline's fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines are made to the strictest Japanese tolerances, incorporating exclusive patented technology like plasma rise. Sunline provides the strength to guarantee your confidence.
In the wild, nature dictates that when it's time to eat, animals will instinctively find and devour the meal that satisfies them most. In the water, Berkeley Powerbait's scientifically proven formula triggers the natural predatory instinct in bass. Now available in a plethora of shapes, sizes, and colors. Berkeley Powerbait. Fish bite and won't let go.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Very prestigious, important tournament to win. The tournament's also served as sort of the halfway post in our altered season, but a season in which we're still going to get in our 9 regular season events, just albeit in a different schedule. That's the way the leaderboard looks right now, and these anglers trying to, of course, pick up points to make it to qualify for next year's World Championship, the 2021 Bassmaster Classic. Jay Ellis has got the lead right now, a few ounces ahead of John Cox, who jumped up close to the noon hour there. Chad Morgan-Taylor, a late move as well. Both the Johnston brothers from Canada. Chris Johnston already owns a victory this season on the Bassmaster Elite Series. That was 2 events ago at Lake Ontario, the St. Lawrence River. Seth Fighter, whom we've been with all day today. There's Seth on the lower right there. Got Jamie Hartman in the upper left. It's been a slow day, if we are to believe the Bass Track, for Jamie Hartman,
It really has been surprisingly slow.
We'll just go fish.
Made a great point there, Tommy, about these anglers. There's a handful certainly in contention for Angler of the Year, a little more than a handful. And Rookie of the Year, we talk about those every event, but the Bassmaster Classic, making that event is on all of these fishermen's mind. Boy, if you're struggling right now with only a fish or 2 in the boat, it's about mid-season. It's a time that could really be the pivot point of your season, of your opportunity to make it to the Bassmaster Classic. Because as these events wind down and get over the midway point, every event I guess seems to be less impactful because it's harder to make up ground or lose ground. So this is a big tournament for a lot of the folks that need to have a good event here.
And for those who are having a great season, Jamie Hartman, you look at that number out beside his name there, where he is currently 64th. You talk about upsetting the apple cart.
Oh, yeah.
All your plans going off the rails in a single tournament. That could happen.
It's, he's had a great year. He's had a great career on the Bassmaster Tournament Trail, no doubt about it. But one day, if that's correct, if his Bass track's right, and he's, and it's going to be pretty close. If he's around 64th place, it'll set him back and make it much, much more difficult to have a chance for Angler of the Year.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be really digging his way out of that for the remainder of the season, really. If you put a 64 up there, it's just very, very hard to come back from. What a great season, though. Started out, top 15 finish at the St. Johns River. That was not an easy tournament.
It was not.
That was not at all.
There was a lot of guys that have fished there for years that struggled in that event. And then to follow it up in our next event, but about 3 or 4 months later, once again, down south, fishing offshore, fishing brush piles, definitely not the drop shot kind of scenario. We see him at places like the St. Lawrence River right here. You kind of expected to see him have a good event there, and then also at Lake Champlain. The thing that was surprising there, and I was right on the water covering this event, caught most of these fish on a Carolina rig. I asked him last night, talking to Jamie Hartman, you throwing a Carolina rig this week? Nope, haven't thrown it all week. So I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But it made sense that what they call the sandgrass. It's a very delicate, I'm going to say, kind of vegetation on the bottom there at Lake St. Clair. Doesn't allow you to drag that 1-ounce sinker along like you can at Lake Champlain over those rocks.
Well, he tried to go wire to wire there. Couldn't quite in the end get it done because Brandon Polnick had an outstanding championship Sunday, but Jamie Hartman got the points, and to start this tournament, there he is, sitting 6 points ahead of Buddy Gross. The Bassmaster Angler of the Year, the award for consistency throughout an entire season.
And
Scott,
look,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And looking at those points, there again, he's got a lot of fishing time. He's certainly got the rest of the day today and tomorrow. But if he drops 50 points, you just see where 50 points puts him not what you want.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic season so far. I got through Florida in the beginning of this year, and that seems to always be my downfall, is that Florida. But we got through that pretty good. Good finish there, 14th, whatever I think it was. And, after that, I've had 2 top 10s, and things have been going pretty good. And, I was really looking forward to this tournament right here. It's been so much fun in the past, and you catch a lot of fish, catch a lot of big fish. They get grouped up, and man, it's been a tough practice for me and tough tournament day so far, but we got several hours left, and I knew, I didn't think I'd have to struggle at this one for AOI. I got myself onto some fish here during practice, and it's got an opposite wind of what we've had all week, and I think it repositioned my fish that were out there by the channel, and I don't know if, I'm sure guys are catching them like crazy, but it's just so much of a struggle for me right now. I can't get anything going. I moved around, switched up baits, and now I'm trying to put one in front of his face by like a needle in a haystack out here. But there ain't no quitting this guy, so we're gonna keep plugging and try to get 3 more in the boat. If I can do 1 an hour, I'd be all right.
We'll take a look at what he's shown us so far today. And Jamie Hartman, he talked about Champlain. We talked about last time he had 3 or 4 primo spots, some of them in very visible places there on Lake Champlain, and you just don't get the feeling he has that sort of setup this time around.
Man. You're exactly right, Tommy. And see, he started off, it took him a little while to catch his first one, but that's the size that you're looking for, no doubt about it. You only need 5 of those bites. You don't have to catch 20 or 30 fish. But I was a little concerned talking to Jamie last night. You can tell he had a tough practice. He said, I've got this one area that I'm going to start on tomorrow morning that I did really good one morning. It's got a lot of potential. And seeing him start there this morning, I didn't talk about it, because I just thought he would catch him. We'd get into a little more. But when he didn't have success in the first hour this morning, I thought it might be a little difficult for him. But like he said, this guy, there's no quit in him, and there's a lot of fishing time, and you know, he's got a couple of the right size ones. He just needs to get 3 more of those good bites and put them in the boat. You start feeling how big this lake is when he mentioned a needle in the haystack. Once you kind of lose that school of fish that you were hoping to stay on, this place seems like a real big haystack, and you're looking for small needles.
Jamie Hartman, the New York native who sort of in a midlife change decided to sell it all, put the rest of it in storage and join the circus, join the Bassmaster Elite Series. And it certainly has been the right move for this extraordinary angler, Jamie Hartman, on what it really means to be an Elite Series angler.
What it means to be a Bassmaster Elite to me, man, it's the top tier of bass fishing, of tournament bass fishing. It is the most prestigious organization to fish for, by far. That's the ones we're looking for right there, man. It's what I've always worked for, it's what I've strided for, and I put my whole life into it. And that's when you get it to them, that's what they do, man. To be here for an epic season, it means the world to me.
Well, anytime your Angler of the Year leaders struggling during the course of just the morning, you tend to kind of go a little crazy and say, hey, what's happening out there? But you made a great point, Davey. He's got plenty of time to do it. And he's got the base to start with, too. He's got that one giant in
He does, and we've seen him do it before.
Oh, yes,
absolutely. We saw Scott Canterbury, our Angler of the Year last year, have a couple key final hour or two comeback to salvage his whole season and win the Angler of the Year.
So if you're a Jamie Hartman fan, do not lose hope. He can certainly get it done, completely get it done on this day.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
You don't know their names yet, but you will.
When I'm on the road for work or for fun, I always like to have a reliable generator around. This open frame inverter from Champion is ideal because it's lighter than a standard open frame generator and more affordable than a traditional inverter. The remote start helps me start up the generator or shut it off without having to leave my camper. It provides essential power for things like charging my boat batteries, also makes life a lot more comfortable for myself and my family.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. Getting you to that fishing spot is key, and Bully Dog gets your truck road ready. No matter where, we give you the horsepower and towing torque right when you need it. We make getting there better. Make your ride a Bully Dog.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Mercury, go boldly.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Got a little over 2 hours fishing left to share with you on this very important first day of 4 days of fishing at the 2020 YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair. Full field out there, 85, fishing at a lake that's not as big. As far as what's available, the Canadian side is off limits due to the Quarantine Act over there. But we see guys catching them, and no one better than the former Classic champ, legend of bass fishing, Jay Ellis, going into the Hall of Fame this year. Just a fun day for him, for sure, having his best tournament of the year. You know, he's especially when you saw some of the things he was doing there, David. Yeah. He was doing some good stuff. Hey, a B&W Trailer Hitches live look at Jay Ellis right now. We can share. Not able to talk, but we can watch him fish a while, and I think we'd learn a lot.
Ellis actually got a top 10 last year on smallmouth at the St. Lawrence River. He was one of the contenders that final day there. Everyone was in contention, obviously, with 10th place coming back and winning, but Ellis doing well this week, too.
So I'm a little jealous here. I mean, I love to see people catching big smallmouth, you know, Seth Fighter catching them on a drop shot or Stetson Blaylock a crankbait, but this brings back a lot of memories. And Jay actually started fishing the Bassmaster Tournament Trail a few years before I did, but our first trip up here, Jay was there in 1994, if I recall correctly. And this is a big, shallow, flat area that for many years we would catch a lot of fish in this area on spinner baits, tube baits, and that sort of thing. But we haven't seen any of this in a very long time. So it's good to see Jay Ellis having a good event. He's a good person, obviously a legend in our sport. But it's also really neat to see him catching a lot of his fish on a spinnerbait, like Mark Zona told us. And Zona knew I would be a little jealous seeing him throw the spinnerbait.
Maybe he's ahead of the curve. Maybe he knows the retro is on its way back in. He's just jumping out in front of everybody
Everything
else.
comes back in style.
That's right. Yeah, you can be on the vanguard going backwards. So that's right. That's for sure. And Zona pointed to a place behind him when we saw that shot of it toward the bank over there where the river delta comes in. And he said, there's some tournaments that go out of there. And he thought that might have been a factor in both him and Clark Wendlandt as well. Yeah,
definitely that's a factor. And typically on a lake that has a good population of fish, I don't pay any attention to the areas that are have those tournaments go out of there. Mm-hmm. But there's been an unusual amount of tournaments around this area because of the Canadian side being off limits, because of COVID. There's so many more people fishing. License sales, boat sales, tackle sales are all up in our country right now, and tournaments are up where there have been allowed to be tournaments. Some areas wouldn't let you permit to have tournaments, but in the last month and a half or 2 months, there's been a lot of tournaments. And like Zona mentioned and like you just reminded me of this morning, that's certainly something, even on a lake like Lake St. Clair, if there's hundreds and hundreds of fish being released in a general area, it's a good idea to maybe check it out. And these smallmouth, they just don't move as much as they did 20 years ago, like I mentioned when Jay was there.
You said they're becoming residents. They got what they need here.
Those gobies, when they've got food and cover, whether they're smallmouth, largemouth, spotted bass, if there's food and cover there, why swim 20 miles?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like if you've got steak and lobster in your recliner and your TV's working, why drive 30 miles down the road to get something to eat? It's very similar. I mean, they're opportunistic predators, and when they've got food and cover, as long as the water quality is good also, it's another thing, but obviously you can look at this picture and tell the water quality is great on Lake St. Clair, everywhere basically.
No doubt. Beautiful, beautiful place, and you talk about, you know, you can look back at the history of this tournament. There have been a few wins that people have attributed to being very close to Metro Park.
Yes.
You know,
but it usually fizzles out. It seems like it don't hold up for 4 days. Yeah. But there's usually a few people, and that's another thing that Zona, he said that Clark, there were a couple people around him, not so much, no one around Jay Ellis.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. They're both having great tournaments so far. It'll be interesting to see if it can hold up for Jay in this area for 4 days.
And there are some guys, there's been some strategy played where if this is known or if you practice there and you saw a bunch of boats there, you might go there day one and just use it and be done with it, because you're saving other stuff that maybe no one else, you didn't see anybody around in practice. You know, this might be a hot spot. I'm going to go hit it, get some fish, because it won't last 4 days. So I'm going to hit it now instead of later.
That's a good point. And I've fished with and against Jay Ellis and Clark Wendlandt. They're both great fishermen. They've got 4-day plans. Now, whether they always work out or not, obviously they don't for all of us, but it could be just a day one plan. Hey, I'm going to catch them here, and then I'm going to go to a different area on day 2 or day 3. They're those two guys, that are in this area that Zona had covered this morning, and we've got the camera there on Jay right now. They're two of the best there's ever been, and they've got a plan, I promise you.
That strategy looms big, especially up here with managing fish, half the fishery that you probably normally, get to fish at St. Clair.
Mm-hmm. Garrett Paquette right there in his second year with the Bassmaster Elite Series, this Michigan angler.
Yeah, so we're up here now on the St. Clair River, maybe 15 miles from the lake, 10 miles. And I have some real specific clean areas on the bottom in like 3 to 5 foot of water, sand patches, and there's been some really good fish sitting in these that I've been able to not catch in practice, but I was able to throw my bait down there, and they're real aggressive towards. I could sight fish them. And so far, I've only hit 2 of them, but the fish don't seem to be on them like they were in practice, which is kind of a bummer, because I was not dealing with a lot of fish as it was. I mean, some of these spots had 1 to 2 fish. They were just 4 to 5.5 pounders. They're good fish. So it might have something to do with the wind, just not having that current flowing the way it should. And then on top of that, it's kind of making it hard to see. These fish aren't as easy to see as some other fish. Like we go to the St. Lawrence, the fish are real black. You could see them from 200 feet away. These ones are kind of camouflaging to the bottom, so I really need good visibility, and I don't have it. But I'm gonna run a couple more areas that I have, little quick spots, and hopefully get 1 or 2 of these to bite, because it'll really boost my bag up in a big way. And then, if that doesn't happen, we're gonna go run to the lake in a little bit here and finish out there, and hopefully come by a couple more good ones.
Well, Garrett Paquette, the Michigan angler, dissatisfied with his finish here last year at the end of the season, the postseason. Did not do what he expected to do, but where he actually shone, ironically enough, was way down on Lake Fork, of all places, Emory, Texas, and he didn't just shine. I mean, he cracked the century mark down.
I was talking earlier about Garrett saying he didn't fish Lake St. Clair during the summer because he felt like he needed to spend more time down south, and he said, I didn't have a good tournament at Lake St. Clair last year. I hope I have a better one this year. But he said, I had success down south because of that strategy. I spent more time. So wouldn't have been in the position that he was in had he not spent some time down south this time of year, not so much there at Lake St. Clair.
We're having 2 days out of 4 where you catch just ounces shy of 30 pounds. That's a pretty good definition of success. I don't care where you fish.
Absolutely. Great young fisherman. I enjoyed talking to him last night. He's got a plan, and what he's doing here, sight fishing there in the river. We see a lot of that on the St. Lawrence, but not so many people we see doing that here on the St. Clair River. But a little too much wind, it looks like, there for him to be able to see those fish right now.
Stetson Blaylock, things have slowed down for him. Didn't really ever get up and running according to his standards by any means. So he's going to have to find a way to turn his day around a little bit.
Or our Carolina roommates have just jumped in the top 10. Shane LaHue, a little over 18 pounds, is in 8th place. His roommate Brandon Cobb is 10th. It's about 18 even.
Wow.
Stetson Blaylock in 52nd place. And remember, he finished second here last year. Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, done largely with the crankbait. So Stetson going to have to figure. He had to dial it in a little bit over the course of the 3 days last year. He's got to start dialing now, I would say, David.
Yeah, he's definitely disappointed in his day so far today, but a lot of time left. We've seen you catch 2 or 3, heck, 1 or 2 of those 4.5, 5 pound smallmouth. It will change the complexion of your day 100%. Seth Fighter having a better day, really, than he expected. That's not surprising for us, though.
No.
He's a little disappointed because he wasn't catching 30 pounds a day in practice like he did last year. And then Garrett Paquette, in the St. Clair River. Looks like he got a little too much wind, and looks like Chris Grow has a little wind where he's at there today, only showing 12 pounds, 7 ounces, but a lot of time to fish for him, and hopefully good things will happen for Chris Grow this afternoon.
Well, what a great place, what a great location, legendary in the sport of bass fishing, a real bucket list lake for sure. Lake St. Clair, Jay Ellis, legend from the West Coast, on top right now just by ounces over John Cox. Chad Morgan Taylor hanging in there. Chris Johnston. Hasn't been anybody make a big move in the past 30 minutes or so. They've been pretty much status quo, but that's going to change. That's one thing you can bet on. We'll take a break and come back.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories. Fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
At Mercury, we invested thousands of hours of engineering manpower so you can enjoy hours and hours of untapped horsepower. Introducing the all-new V6 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly. At Mercury, there are no limits to what we'll do to make sure you have no limits either. Introducing the all-new V8 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Bassmaster Live. Got plenty of fishing left for you. Just under 2 hours left today, and tomorrow, hey, we start the whole thing all over again. Kick it off at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Excuse me, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for our ESPN2 coverage. That's Saturdays. Okay, that's Saturday's schedule. There we go. 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's all straight through. 7 hours straight of Bassmaster Live. Saturday will be a big day for top-level pro bass fishing. Day 3, the final moving day. We'll have 40 anglers out there trying to make the top 10 who can vie for the championship on Championship Sunday. Beautiful views of Macomb County here, northeast of Detroit. Beautiful Lake St. Clair. The water just is gorgeous. You think you're out in the Caribbean somewhere when you look at some of these shots, for sure.
Absolutely. An ocean, for sure, Tommy.
Dang right. Let's get out to Seth Fighter. Check on him. It's been a while since we've seen him put a keeper in the live well.
He's actually, looks like he's throwing a crankbait for the first time we've seen him today. Let's
might make a difference.
See if we can catch us a big smallmouth like we saw him do so many times last year with the crankbait. Right here on Lake St. Clair.
There he is.
Ooh.
Feels pretty good, too.
A lot of bend in the rod there.
Well, they back on a plug, bud. Feels big. Hard to tell. Hard to tell, but he feels good. Got big head shakes. Still can't see. He looks big. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a giant. It's barely got it, though.
Watch out.
Come here, baby. Come here. Oh! Oh! Come here. Don't pop that hook. Yes!
Got him.
Oh.
Heck yeah. Little plug eater. Ow.
Wow.
Nice and... Get a little nervous on that crankbait, man.
Beautiful, beautiful smallmouth.
Getting rid of number 2.
So it's a good thing about his scale right there. You can see he has all 5 of his fish on there, knows which one's small. He's going to weigh this, register it, and replace number 2, which correlates to a cull tag in his live well.
Gotta be bigger than 312.
Definitely bigger than 312.
About a half-pound cull, I believe.
So what does put him at now, unofficially?
19 and a half.
19 and a half.
Fourth place.
And like you mentioned, he's going to be very close. Some of these guys just eyeball the fish, but he's using that Rapala scale. He's going to be literally over those 5 fish within an ounce or 2 at the scales with Dave Mercer.
And you got to think, for the people who
he's
are...
almost 4. Call him like a 314 or something. Oh, plug eater. Well, now we just got wine for the next 2 hours. Come on.
Catches another one that size, he'll have 20 pounds.
It's really cool to see a guy like Fighter
much
come into his own the last couple
I've
years.
had like a few little bumps and stuff, but I'm pretty sure them are like walleyes or something. When you get a bass, it's like, brr. I thought he was a little bigger when I first seen it, or first got a good look at him up by the boat. I thought.
For a guy who was about a tournament, maybe 2 tournaments away from having to call it quits in professional fishing, to have caught him in that final tournament, caught him in the next one, and now he is a star in the sport, and he's got momentum like no one else right now.
Yeah, lacrosse. He was at his rope's end. He finished 2nd place, and he got to the AOI championship and won.
Just 2 ounces ahead, unofficially, of Seth Fighter. It's Chad Morgentail sitting in 3rd place. Chad originally from Illinois. And hooked up.
Such a cool shot from that drone.
Really see a lot more from that angle. You can see the other half of the fish fight too.
Yeah.
Always.
It's amazing. You see those fish jump there. That's great. How you can tell they really, once they get close to that boat, they want to be under the boat.
Right under it, yeah.
That makes sense how Taku Ito at the St. Lawrence River got one stuck under the boat for about 3 or 4 minutes there on Bassmaster Live.
Of course, Kobe had one that came up on the other side of the boat while he was looking over. We've seen that before, too.
Chris Johnston had 2 jump into his boat from the depths.
I don't think. Look at that. He had somebody else's hook in him. Somebody broke it off.
check to see. I think he said he didn't know if this fish was even going to help him.
Yeah. I was just admiring how clean the bottom of his boat is, right? Like, normally there's lures spread all over from practice and whatnot, but he has tucked them all away. It is so nice and neat for day one of the tournament.
Is that because of Ashley Wages, our camera person, is in the boat, Ronnie? To not let everybody else see?
Won't help.
Now, some guys are
neat and clean and
real particular about that. And some guys, they still have baits there from St. John's in Florida.
Exactly. Plus, with big waves, you don't need them bouncing up. Those are just dangers. That's so cool to have that live drone.
Steph, don't think that's much help for Chad, but that's a sign of fishing pressure when he's got other people's tackle in his mouth. You pull a fish in, you know that they're getting leaned on in this part of the world, which is, kind of a lot of it's peculiar to this year. There's just so many more people. You talked about all the fishing licenses being sold. In this state, they had so many days and weeks where you didn't even need a license. They just said, go fish. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Go and fish. And so that's when everybody that doesn't have a license that knows somebody with a boat makes them take them fishing.
Chris Grow hooked up.
All right.
Honestly, there's marine dealers in the area that I live in that are out of boats to sell. I mean, the inventory is down to 1 or 2 pontoons, 1 bass boat, and that's all they've got on the lot. It's incredible.
You see that? They jump in the boat. Oh, that was a Chris Johnston. Oh, thank you. That was a flatworm fish. Oh, I just put the Ninja hood up. Just getting frustrated. Got a little help right there on that one. Oh, that was I just found.
Little sigh of relief there from Chris Grow. Nice to get a solid keeper in the boat right there. We're going to take you over to Metro Park. Metro Park is where the weigh-in is going to take place today. It's going to be a weigh-in with a little different look. I think Dave Mercer can explain a little bit about that to us. Dave, kind of tell us what's going to happen there this afternoon.
Well, guys, something that was kind of the norm, until this year. Big crowds and that sort of thing. We unfortunately haven't been able to have them there, and people are always asking, what's it like to have a weigh-in without a crowd? It kills us, but it's way better than having a weigh-in without having a weigh-in. As I always tell people, we're happy to be back here, but the cool thing that we're going to be able to do here this week, we can't have any spectators in the park, but if you happen to be out here in Lake St. Clair, come on in here. You're going to be able to moor up your boat, and let's turn this into a Kenny Chesney concert, basically, and have a bunch of people socially distant but enjoying the weigh-in this afternoon and for the next few days. So, we don't know how this is going to work out, but that's the cool thing that's happening this year with all the companies and all the people that are having to adapt and that sort of thing. And kudos to the B.A.S. team, kudos to the folks from Metro Beach here that are working hard to give a bit of a fan experience. So if you're in the area, you're welcome to come on in here. You can't come by land, but you got to come by boat. But moor your boat on in here, and as you can see, a pretty unique view, right from the water. Beautiful breeze in here. It's going to be a fun afternoon, but we're actually going to have some spectators at a Bassmaster weigh-in, and there's nobody more excited about that, to be honest, than me.
Thank you, Dave. Good work. Yeah, Dave needs an audience, man. He brings the material. He's got the stuff to deliver, and he's been unable to do that these last few times. I had a little breakthrough there, I would say.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it with the great crowds. We have the greatest fans in the world, but to MC a weigh-in with no audience, it has to be super difficult.
2 hours of entertainment, I tell you what, that's a very rare skill. Very few people in this world can do what Dave Mercer does. Scarcely any people at all. Jay Ellis, the man on top there. We got to have a little look at Jay fishing away up there in the northern part of the lake. John Cox right behind him, less than half a pound behind. Morgan Taylor, Fighter, Hanselman, Johnston, Mosley, LeHue, and Benton. We'll take ourselves a quick break and be right back.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Mercury, go boldly.
Son gets it done. Jordan Lee, back-to-back domination, unbelievable.
Fish and win with Skeeter Real Money. Fish out of your Skeeter boat, win a Skeeter-approved contingency paying event, and you could add $5,000 to your winnings. Just enter, fish, and win. It's that easy. Rules and conditions apply. Visit SkeeterBoats.com and click the Real Money logo to register and learn more, or visit your local Skeeter dealer. Fish, win, get paid up to $5,000. Go to SkeeterBoats.com and see why now is the best time to enter, fish, and win with Skeeter Real Money.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is brought to you by Humminbird, Mercury, Minn Kota, and by Talon.
There it is, the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. Not too far as we look up north and east. Well, there's the Detroit River for you right there, which is the exit of the water out of Lake St. Clair, headed toward Lake Erie. Here's our leaderboard right now, Jay Ellis, the legend. Jay Ellis going into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame this year, on top for now. Less than half a pound ahead of John Cox, Chad Morgan Taylor. Seth Fighter, saw him catch a good one a little bit ago. On his way to 20 pounds. We expect all of those top 4 or 5 places to have 20 pounds at least by weigh-in time, and maybe as many as 15 people that have 20 pounds at the end of the day. But we have seen some good stuff out there so far on the water, and we expect more of the same. St. Clair's one of these places that, you know, it seems to reload. All the great places seem to reload. It's an extraordinary fishery.
It is. After our swing in New York, those 2 great tournaments there, St. Clair is certainly not disappointing. And here's someone who has not disappointed today is Destin. A little slower start than he wanted. He said he had one day in practice where he caught about 23 pounds, caught 30, 35 fish, slower this morning. But this is the kind that'll win you Power Pole Replay of the Day. Looks like a solid 5.5 pounder. Super excited. Those fish right there will change your day. He had a slow day.
Look at that thing. Oh my
Obviously, got him excited there.
That is exciting right there, Destin DeMarion, the Pennsylvania angler who does some guiding on Lake Erie. Certainly has his smallmouth license for sure, has all his smallmouth credentials in order. course, had some big expectations coming here to St. Clair, and there's a fulfillment of some of those expectations right there. That's what you come to St. Clair for. Thank you for coming along with us today on Bassmaster Live. And we got plenty more for you. An hour and a half left to go, Davey, and we haven't even started in on strategies for making what's working for some of these anglers now stretch out over the next few days. Are they going to have, how much adapting are they going to have to do? No giant weather changes, forecast.
Well, it's a big difference here this week because only being able to fish U.S. waters. So we'll have to see how it unfolds. 4 days in this event. Today is just, I like to call it the end of the first quarter, and we're not even at the end of the first quarter so far today. So it'll be very interesting to see this tournament unfold. It's a little different each and every year, but we've never had it with just U.S. waters. We'll see if some guys are maybe fishing close today, and then they expand and go to St. Clair River, Huron, maybe even to the Detroit River.
Yeah, that we'll learn a lot more at the weigh-in time, too. We'll be watching the weigh-in, too, so we'll get plenty more information, and we anxiously look forward to these next 3 days of fishing. We got plenty more good fishing today. But right now we turn to the screen of knowledge, and there's where we always find Ronnie Moore. Ronnie, the sad truth about you is you live in a fantasy world. Actually, it's not sad. That's a happy truth. You work on fantasy a lot. Rapala Bassmaster Fantasy, what have you got for us today?
I thought you were going to say you're anxiously awaiting this Rapala Bassmaster Fantasy hit, but then you said the next 3 days. But it's okay, it's okay. But yes, I wanted to bring it in. We're kind of halfway, almost 3/4 of the way through day one of competition, so we want to see how Rapala Bassmaster Fantasy fishing sorts out. And the way it is, we have 85 professional anglers out there divided up into 5 different buckets, and that basically is how you've done this season. Halfway through the season, the guy who's in bucket A, one of the top guys in the league. Guys who are in bucket B need some work to do. C, D, and E, and the guys who are in E obviously are the bottom 15 guys in AOY right now. But this was what we would call your chalk squad for Lake St. Clair. The picks that have gotten the most percentage in each bucket. We've got Seth Fighter on camera today. He's doing well in the top 10 representing. The Johnston brothers, they have basically been the chalk picks the last 3 weeks because of St. Lawrence River, Lake Champlain, and Lake St. Clair, all smallmouth, all northern fisheries, and these guys are Canadian, and they are great in this neck of the woods. Those 2 guys there. John Cruz, he was in 10th place in our Angler of the Year in bucket A just a few events ago. He struggled, dropped back to bucket D, and people are saying, hey, this is going to be where he turns it around. He's still putting his data together, doesn't have a limit yet. And then Bill Lowen, bucket E, very surprising. He's one of the most consistent anglers on the Elite Series. For him to be in the bottom 15 in points, very remarkable that he's struggled that much, but he is doing great today in the top 20, gonna have a good comeback. He will not be in bucket E after this event, but that's your chalk squad. And I wanted to take it over to Billy Ross. Billy Ross is the guy who is leading fantasy fishing for the overall year, and he basically has 3 of the 5 chalk guys. Great picks. Fighter, Johnston, and Johnston. He went out on a limb with Hudnall. We saw him do okay on Bassmaster Live so far today. And Lee Livesey, another guy we don't expect in bucket E. So, hey, kudos to Billy Ross leading halfway through the season for fantasy fishing. It'll be interesting who leads at the end of St. Clair with all the mix-ups we have.
Absolutely. Going to be a lot of changes between now and the end of St. Clair. Thank you, Ronnie. Some good stuff there. Some good fantasy insider stuff for all you folks. And Bill Lowen, I suspect he'll come out of bucket E. By the time we get down south for sure.
That southern
next
swing,
month,
tougher time of year. That's right up his alley. We won't see him there.
Yeah, tougher it gets, the stronger he gets.
Speaking of Fighter as well, he's hooked up with one. Probably not going to help. Definitely not going to help.
Had a couple calls. Ray Hanselman and Corey Johnston. Now they got 20 pounds each, and they're tied for second place with John Cox.
A lot cooler if it's a 6-pounder.
Again, full field fishing today and tomorrow. We cut it down to 40 after tomorrow's weigh-in. Have a better idea after the weigh-in today what you're going to need to catch tomorrow in order to make that cut.
Tommy, you've 100% exposed me to the world. Everyone knows my head's in the clouds all the time now in fantasy world.
That's right.
And now they're calling me out about it.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's
I was pretty nervous about, well, I was pretty nervous. I was kind of down in the dumps. I had a pretty off practice, and I didn't know how much weight I could catch. And Zona told me that his dachshund, Zachers, who does not have thumbs, he made a point of that, said he could come out to St. Clair and catch 16 pounds, no problem. So, yeah, take that, Zachers.
Things are going okay if you got time to pick a fight with Zona's dog
exactly.
out on the water during a competition day, I would say.
16 pounds tomorrow. I'm gonna have to apologize to Zachers.
Still surprised Chad Pipkins hasn't found a bigger size school of fish.
Let's check back in with Stetson Blaylock. Stetson is not getting the size coming into the boat so far today that he needs to put himself up there in that top tier where he would like to dwell for the rest of this tournament for sure.
Surprising him also. It's, didn't have a great practice, but had a solid practice, a solid game plan. And, fishing is a humbling sport, but fishing on Lake St. Clair can certainly be humble.
Literally, he's 6 or 8 feet below this fish. He ain't gonna help, I don't think, but. Come here. Come here, you little sucker. Come here. I'm literally gonna have to balance beam them because I'm gonna need every ounce I can to survive today.
We were watching Seth Fighter use a scale to actually weigh them and determine for some of these fish that are so close, and it's gonna be 3.2, 3.19. Putting them on that beam, it's gonna be with the one that goes down just slightly is gonna be the one that weighs a little bit more.
Stetson Blaylock, of course, wrapped up a fantastic year here last year. High finish in this tournament, high AOY, and he's a good place again this year as well, 21st place.
Winning an event and winning that blue trophy, it's the pinnacle of your career. Yes, there's Anglers of the Year. Yes, there's Bassmaster Classics, but you've got to set your bars and you've got to start, whether it be the magazine or the TV show or the lives that the kids get to watch now. All that stuff fuels dreams.
Get you a load of that, Bass Nation. Oh my gosh.
It gave me something to shoot for. I want to be like that guy. I want to be better than that guy one of these days.
That's him. That's him.
It shaped me into the angler that I am today.
Oh my goodness.
My focus is on catching every bite that I get. That's all I can think about.
From Benton, Arkansas, Stetson Blaylock.
Good look inside the world of Stetson Blaylock. As Ronnie, you mentioned, probably one of the top 3 most momentum guys in the world of bass fishing over the past 18 months.
Yes, he's been on a roll.
Here's some bass trivia for you. How many 2019 elite tournaments were decided by less than 1 pound? Was it 3, 4, 5, or 6? A, B, C, or D? Think about that for a few seconds. There's been a few of them, several of them in the past 18 months, we could say. Chew on that and come back and we'll get the answer in a minute.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt. This reel allows you to cover more water, make more casts, giving you more opportunities to catch more fish. The new Revo rocket. Abu Garcia for life.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. Getting you to that fishing spot is key. And Bully Dog gets your truck road ready. No matter where, we give you the horsepower and towing torque right when you need it. We make getting there better. Make your ride a Bully Dog.
Introducing the B.A.S.U TV app. Get the most out of your B.A.S.U TV subscription and learn on the go with the B.A.S.U TV app. Unlimited access to 700 plus training videos. Multiple new releases each week, including seminars, on-water videos, live shows, interviews, and other original content. The B.A.S.U TV app. Never stop learning.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new Tour Grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Well, sliding into the final quarter. If this were a game day, the final quarter of coverage of this first day of 4 days fishing on Lake St. Clair, the YETI Elite. Sunday, we've got some good coverage for you. Streaming coverage begins at 8 a.m. Eastern Time and at noon Eastern Time with you right here on ESPN2. 2 more hours of coverage. Should be a fun Sunday. Big Sunday for sports in a big sports town like Detroit. Bass Trivia, how many 2019 Elite tournaments were decided by less than 1 pound? Was it 3, 4, 5, or 6, Davey?
I'll go first because Ronnie wants to know what I picked so he can copy it. I'm
I
going
know the
C5.
answer.
C5,
Dang
Ronnie?
it's C5. It has to be.
I'm saying 4. I'm talking 4 right
Why
here.
does it have
Such
to
knows the
be?
answer.
Because
It's
we're
5.
You know whose paper to copy there, Ronnie.
Uh-huh. No, you just wanted
I give
to
it
jump
to
in.
one of the producers, and I think he sneaks
You
it.
guys are some real
I've
geniuses.
already seen it.
There they are for you right there. All 5 tournaments: Lanier, Winyah Bay, Guntersville, St. Lawrence, and Cayuga Lake.
Those are incredible tournaments.
They were
That's over 4 days.
Yeah.
It's amazing, though, that it's
It really
that
is.
tight. I mean, we've had a couple this year, not even quite that close.
2 on the bottom were guys coming from 10 spots off the lead, too, so that made them even more unusual.
Lake Guntersville, a historical fishery over 4 days. An ounce and a quarter separates Jamie Hartman and Chris Alday. It's incredible.
And that's the thing with Hartman. I mean, he's Angler of the Year leader this year. And last year he had those 2 close calls. He is shaving years off his life with the anxiety he's got to deal with how close it is in the standings.
We'll be checking in with Jamie Hartman before too long, that is for sure. Right now, we're going to take you right down to Chad Morgan-Taylor. We've been in
that's
the
a
boat
big
with
one
him
right
for
there.
a couple of hours now, and he's hooked up.
That one will help. I'm pretty sure. Maybe. He's gonna be close. Maybe not. He'll be real close. Dadgum.
Two. Like we mentioned, ounces are so important. We'll make sure when you see him that close on a scale, he'll probably use a balance beam.
Scoreboard just
verify.
showed Ray Hanselman Jr. with a 4.5 pounder taking the lead at 20 pounds 8 ounces.
How about that?
But I just got a blog that John Cox has a little bit more than what Bass Track has shown him. His smallest fish with 2 5-pounders is a 4.9.
Well, that would not be unheard of. We've had a few cases where fellas have had a bit more poundage than was reflected in the unofficial results. So.
Well, if you think about this, you got 5 fish, and I've always said this, 5 fish in a limit. If you're off by 3 ounces, you're off by less than 1/4 pound, which is if you're looking at a 5-pounder and you can say, is this a 5 even or a 5-4? If you're off by just 3 or 4 ounces for 5 fish, that's 1 pound to 1.25 pound difference. So
Easy
you can,
mistake.
You can come in, even if you're trying to be as accurate as possible, there's going to be within 1 pound of room it can change.
Well, there was our Angler of the Year points leader to start the day, Jamie Hartman.
Wow.
Got one good one in the boat, but boy, he is just stuck on a couple of fish there.
There was a photo of Cox sent into our blog as well, and he's in front of a building, but it's a little smallmouth. So I'm not sure what else he's been catching.
Okay. So this shows how important each and every day on the Bassmaster Elite Trail is. To have an opportunity to win Angler of the Year, you can't have a bad tournament. You can't have a bad day.
No.
Or if you do, you have to make it up on day 2 because you won't make the cut if you stay in the in the 60s. They're going to cut the field to 40 after 2 days. Now, like you mentioned earlier, Ronnie, we saw Scott Canterbury in the final hour or so of day 2 save his AOY.
Numerous times.
So it could
last year.
happen. It can certainly happen, but not the day Jamie Hartman wanted. And I talked to him. I've known him for several years. He didn't have a great practice, but he's really shocked right now, I think, not having any more in live well than he does.
Our top 10, the AOY overall is not having a great day. Hartman's 66, Buddy Gross second is in 67, Canterbury's side 50, Aries 38. The best one is, we don't know Mueller's, Bass Track's one, is Taco Ito's 22nd, but Seth Fighter, who was 6th, he was 10th, but he's now 6th in the tournament, so he could stand to maybe take the lead after today, depending on if things stay.
Is he not right there also?
He's 14th. You're right. He's 14th.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a bad day today, you could easily lose 2 days of fishing. You only guaranteed 18 days of fishing all year long, and you could lose, 10% of your opportunities for production that are guaranteed to you for the year.
I've lived it. I mean, it's just if you haven't lived it or if you don't really keep up with our Bassmaster Elite points throughout a year, you don't realize what each and every day means. And it could be your fish moved, it could be a mechanical issue, it could be, so many different things. But that's why that trophy, to hold a Bassmaster Angler of the Year trophy is so prestigious.
Yeah, and over the 9 events,
you had to be great and everything around you had to work perfectly.
Yeah, you get 100 points for first place, second place, you finish after 4 days, 99 points, etc.
Yes.
Down, all the way down. It means you don't think there's a big difference there, but it spreads out after a couple tournaments.
Oh, there were some guys who had really, really tough day 1s in New York. I know Jake Whitaker, a guy who's a buddy of mine, and he was 60th, 70th place after day 1, jumps up into the 50s and saves 20 points per day, and he's still just fine in that classic cut.
Right.
These were the current standings right before they took off this morning. Going to change for sure. Jamie Hartman, 6-point advantage over Buddy Gross. Scott Canterbury, just 3 points behind Buddy Gross. He was our last year. 2019 Bassmaster Angler of the Year. Matt Airy, Paul Mueller's won this year. Clark Windler, definitely up there. Taquito, doing very well in the Rookie of the Year race also. Chad Pipkins, he needs to pick up the pace a little bit. Brandon Palaniuk.
2017 AOY Palaniuk.
Yeah. 4-time winner, Palaniuk. Seth Fighter in the top 10. Boy, we look at Jamie's year last year. included 2, not 1, but 2 wins in 9 regular season events. This one coming from 10 spots off the pace on the final day in Lake Guntersville.
It's absolutely incredible what he did there on that final day. He knew that he'd had a special day, but had no idea that he really could win that event coming from 10th place. Was absolutely amazed.
Most of the work done in a couple of hours in the morning, so he's got a couple of hours left of fishing today, so we'll see. He went on to Cayuga Lake, where he was a little bit more on everyone's radar, being a New York native, and just managed his fishing, this big old flat in the northern end of the lake, just managed it to perfection.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Managed his fish there. He had a good area, and he just fished it in an hour or two the first couple of days, really bared down on it that final day. Did a great job in that event, managing his fish, knowing what he had, and knowing that it was 4 days, not 1 day. Don't go in there and beat your fish up. Great job by Jamie Hartman there.
Well, there's your leaderboard, your newly adjusted leaderboard, with Texan Ray Hanselman on top right now by a single ounce of Jay Ellis, who spent a good bit of time living in Texas throughout the years. Cox, Corey Johnston, Chad Morgan-Taylor, Seth Fighter, Shane LeHue has now entered the top 10. Brock Mosley back in it right now. Got a lot more fishing on the way. We'll take a break and we shall return.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
What do a taco and a taco truck have in common? Nothing. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
You don't know their names yet, but you will.
Pre-collision system, standard, on the 2020 Tacoma, so you can go from one epic playground to the next. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. Getting you to that fishing spot is key. And Bully Dog gets your truck road ready. No matter where, we give you the horsepower and towing torque right when you need it. We make getting there better. Make your ride a Bully Dog.
If you want to know how the best anglers always seem to find fish, stay on fish, and be in the right place at the right time, don't ask them. Just look at the name on the side of their boat. The one that's built 10 million motors, shallow water anchors, and more. No angler's gonna tell you their secrets, but they don't have to, because you already know. Minn Kota, fish for more.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Really enjoy every trip we take here to Metro Park and Lake St. Clair. Our next event is the rescheduled event. We had to lose an event in New York because of the restrictions earlier this year in Lake Cayuga. That one was rescheduled recently, and it's going to happen at Lake Guntersville. Fantastic Lake Guntersville, September 30th, October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Lake Guntersville, boy, it's hard to find just a bad time to go to Lake Guntersville. It'll be a different Lake Guntersville, but they will catch them, won't they, Dave?
Oh, they absolutely will. They always catch them at Lake Guntersville, but it's very exciting. I'm excited about that event being there during some some of the most famous frog fishing, topwater fishing in the country.
TH Marine Weather Watch for tomorrow. Warmer than today. Just a beautiful day today. A little warmer, 87 degrees. The wind, southwest 5 to 10 miles an hour. So the wind turns a little more westerly instead of west-southwest.
Had a lot of south to it this morning, and threw some of these guys, including Jamie Hartman, as we see here, threw him a curveball.
Yeah, he's having a hard time figuring it out. Any new visitor, as we say to St. Clair, is always shocked and amazed by the amount of current, but you think that everything that goes through the Great Lakes has got to go through this little actual pinch point compared to the rest of the Great Lakes.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. It's a 500 square mile pinch point, but you've got Lake Huron on the north of you and Lake Erie to the south of you, so it literally, this 500 square miles is a very small little pinch point in the hourglass.
Seth Fighter hooked up here.
It's just a nice one. I don't know if it's going to help.
Well, he's having a good day.
Yes, he is.
Steady, just been catching fish all day long. No real flurries, but started this morning, I think it's 7:34, and it's steady all day.
Can't tell if he's 3 pounds or 4 pounds. Looks kind of thin, doesn't he? Looks real thin. He's hooked in a terrible spot. I don't think he's gonna help. Ain't no way. It's too thin.
You're just tuning in. We talked about this morning these fish being big frames, but thin. It's that time of year. They haven't put that weight back on from the spawning process. A lot of these fish are weighing 3.5 to 4 1/4, where a month from now will be 4.5 to 4 3/4.
Good luck. I don't think it's gonna help. Yeah.
Seth Fighter currently 2 ounces behind Chad Morgan-Taylor. So he will remain in 6th place. For the time being, well positioned. You got to figure by any estimation. Yeah. That's where you want to. The neighborhood you want to land in after the first day's fishing here in St. Clair.
Morning.
You see Jamie Hartman there. It's only showing 5.5 pounds right now. He's got to get up there around 12 to 15 pounds to even have a chance to come back tomorrow. Yeah. I mean, he cannot stay down there at 5.5 pounds. And he knows that. He's bearing down. I can you could hear the sigh he just had right there, just with a deep breath. Sometimes the more you bear down, though, the tougher things get. When you're fishing, you just gotta try to stay focused and catch them one at a time. That's all you can do.
We've got about 50 anglers right now at the limit. Last year, out of the 50 in the AOY Championship, only 12 did not catch a limit on day 1.
Some of that you think, though, is probably people out of cell service, though, at least a number of those.
Some of that you're showing zeros today. There are people who are not on the service who you would think would be in the hunt. Paul Mueller, Keith Combs.
I'd say there's about 15 or so that haven't popped up with a fish. Now, whether they are actually without a fish or, remains to be seen.
Or Bass Track is dead on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet there's a number of those guys that do have fish, just don't have. Their Bass Track's going to a Canadian tower somewhere.
It could be. You talk about limits.
Man, I can't even get number 3, let alone 4 and 5. How the hell am I going to pull that off?
Well, if you have any ideas, you can. No, that was a rhetorical question, actually, I think.
Hey, when you are a professional golfer, a professional fisherman, and you don't have a team or a quarterback or a wide receiver to blame it, like, it's on you, and you're sometimes your worst critic, and he is right now.
Very similar to golf.
Up.
You know, last event at the Champlain, he couldn't miss a green. And right now, he just can't hit one. And it's the same guy, the same talent, the same skill level. It's just
so many
individual sport.
In golf, you got a caddy to help you out. You got nobody.
Am I catching the same fish over and over?
Boy, that does look like the one we saw Chris Groh catch about an hour ago. It's a carbon copy right there.
Over and over and over again. It's like the poltergeist.
And even when Lake St. Clair's fishing tough like it is for Jamie Hartman right now, to know that you're still only 3 drops of your bait from being back in the game is you're never out of it.
Yeah.
Last 3 casts of the day, catch your limit, and you're in 25th instead of 55th or worse.
Through my, I won an event here, but through my 20 years of fishing the Bassmaster Tournament Trail, have been amazed a few tournaments that you just think that you're on them and there's fish, lots of fish in the area you're going to, and you go there and they just all have disappeared.
A lot of guys mentioned
There's
that
no place like this. And looks like what Jamie Hartman's going through.
Stetson Blaylock needs one more of the 3 pounds plus category.
No idea how good he's hooked. Come here, I need you bad. That helps.
Smallest is a 1.5.
Oh yeah.
That helps. That's the way they're supposed to be eating it, right there. See that? See that? That's the way it's supposed to go down, right there. I've just got to keep it in my hand. We can save the day right now. Just keep it in my hand. Keep running it by them. That one followed it up. I stopped it, paused it, and he came and ate it like they're supposed to. Not big, but that's a push in the right direction.
Absolutely is. He's one of those guys, he was at 10 pounds. He's got to get up there.
A lot better.
13 to 15 pounds to have a chance to make it to day 3.
Stetson Blaylock will keep that crankbait in his hands, thinks he may be on to something. As you say, Davey, needs to get on to something. We need to get on to something real quick, but we'll be right back.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
What do a taco and a taco truck have in common? Nothing. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
At Mercury, we invested thousands of hours of engineering manpower so you can enjoy hours and hours of untapped horsepower. Introducing the all-new V6 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly. At Mercury, there are no limits to what we'll do to make sure you have no limits either. Introducing the all-new V8 Mercury Pro XS. Light, quick, efficient. Mercury, go boldly.
Born in Japan, Sunline has over a 40-year history of making the best fishing lines. With 10% of the company's employees focusing on research and development, Sunline is driven to offer the widest selection of bass fishing lines in the U.S. market. Sunline's fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines are made to the strictest Japanese tolerances, incorporating exclusive patented technology like plasma rise. Sunline provides the strength to guarantee your confidence.
Pre-collision system, standard, on the 2020 Tacoma, so you can go from one epic playground to the next. If you want to play, you need a Tacoma.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
One more hour left in our coverage here. First day, the YETI Bassmaster Elite, Lake St. Clair, first day of 4 days of fishing. Day number 3, of course, happens on Saturday. We've got 7 straight hours of Bassmaster Live for you right here on ESPN2. Also streaming 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So get ready for a big Saturday for big-time fishing here in the Detroit area. Big sports town, and it's going to be a big sports Saturday here in Macomb County, just outside of Detroit. Ray Hanselman, Texan Falcon Lake guy, Amistad guy, actually, Ray Hanselman is. Big bass guy.
Seen him do well, and especially throwing a crankbait for the smallmouth in the north. Ray Hanselman, a great offshore fisherman. I'm sure that's what he's doing.
Well, we have seen some good efforts today. Jamie Hartman, someone we talked about who has had a brilliant moment here, but needs to pick up the pace. Let's see. We picked up with him early on today, and we've been in the boat with Jamie all day long. And man, he brought in his first catch of the day, and it was a doozy.
Certainly the right size. Jamie Hartman, leading angler of the year coming into this morning, so we certainly had to have a camera with him. Took him a little while to get going, and I was concerned because he expected big things early on, but that's the size that you're looking for. It's going to be your first fish in the boat. A little bit later, he catches one not quite as good, but you think, well, he's got it rolling out. Unfortunately, he's still stuck with those 2 bass.
Stetson Blaylock did a little bit better than Jamie on numbers. Size-wise, though, they just haven't showed up for Stetson. And early on, he said they just weren't grabbing it right. They weren't grabbing his crankbait.
Yeah, and you noticed several fish that he caught were just hooked in the very back treble hook there. He's using a crankbait with 2 treble hooks, and when you see those fish just nipping at your bait, you know something's just not right. You notice that fish right there, and Stetson knew something wasn't right, not only because of the way that he was hooking these fish, but the size of the fish had gone down, half the size of the fish that he was catching in practice. Moved around a lot. We did see him just a few minutes ago catch one of his nicer fish of the day. Hopefully he'll be on a positive swing here in the final hour or 2 of the event, and get that weight up around 14 or 15 pounds. It'll be so critical for Stetson to get in that area.
Michigan angler Garrett Paquette, second-year man with the Bassmaster Elite Series. Had a slow start himself. The conditions weren't, well, of course, they were directly opposite to practice, and it just takes a while to get refigured.
Yeah, Garrett has a lot of experience here, but he told me not as much as people think for this time of year. I love to fish Lake St. Clair pre-spawn and then later in the fall, but still expected to have a better day than we've seen him have today. Garrett a lot of fishing time though, and he has moved up into the river.
Our other Michigan angler in the mix here today, day 1 is Chad Pipkins, and size again a problem for him. He's got 5 fish in the boat, but boy, just no size to him at all, about a 2-pound average.
Well, it's been tough to realize what happened to Stetson and Jamie Hartman, but I know what happened to Chad Pipkins today. Ronnie Moore picked him to win the event.
Oh,
so
no.
That has made his day very difficult.
Can't let that happen.
I picked Buddy Gross at Lake Eufaula, and he came back from 10th to win. So let's chill on that.
You tell him, Ronnie.
I'm just totally joking. I will still be shocked, although we're definitely past the midpoint of the day for these fishermen. I'll be shocked if we see Chad Pipkins come in with only 10 pounds, 12 ounces. I still believe he's going to get it done, get into at least that 14, 15-pound range. I would be totally shocked if he doesn't do that before this day's over. A lot of experience here. He had 4 or 5 schools of fish that were the right size. It's been a slower start than he expected, but I think Chad Pipkins will do much better before he has to check in with Dave Mercer.
One of 2 Illinois anglers, which is a rarity in modern times on the Bassmaster Elite Series that we've been watching today. Chad Morgan Taylor and this man, Chris Grow.
They jump in the boat.
It's been off and on for Chris all day, and he's had trouble finding some giant ones too.
He has. Chris is another one of those guys. He's said I catches some fish on a crankbait, but I've only been able to catch those fish early. He wasn't able to get that bite going for me this morning, so it's kind of been an uphill battle for him the rest of the day.
Dustin DeMarion, Pennsylvania angler, lots of experience, smallmouth, Lake Erie.
You see him with 15 pounds, 4 ounces, but
These fish are
I guess
hard to land.
I'm going to say a ace in the hole, not this fish. but he's got a solid 5.5 pounder. Showing him there, 35th place with 15.4.
That's the kind we want.
He get
right
rid of
there.
1 or 2 of those fish. Oh, he's only got 4 fish. Okay.
the
So
highest
he's a
with
guy
4
that
fish.
he could be at 20 pounds
He could
very,
jump
very
25
easily.
spots with a 3-pounder. He must be a numerologist. In his bass track, he put a 2.5 in, a 3.5, a 4.5, and that 5.5.
Wow.
Likes 5.
A numerologist on Bassmaster Live.
Giant there
Ronnie,
from
you're a
Justin
4.
DeMarion.
You're a
Seth Fighter today. All eyes on Seth, just based on what he did last week and the week before.
Yeah, and last year when we were here at St. Clair,
Yes.
everybody expecting big things from Seth Fighter, and he was a little buzzkill this morning. He was like, guys,
Little
I didn't have a
BZK?
good practice.
Yeah.
I didn't have a good practice. It's not what it was last year, and he has caught them just steady all day long, mainly on a drop shot, but has caught 1 or 2 fish on a crankbait. Just steady for Seth Fighter. Having a good day, staying in that top 10.
Right where you need to be.
Ian Clark Wendlandt could make our big AOI moves today or this event.
Yeah, great day for Seth Fighter towards AOI, and also like you
Started in
mentioned,
10th today, did he not, Such?
Yes, I believe you are correct. 10th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a better one.
Just have not seen Seth catch many small fish like we've seen some of these other anglers. It's, just a lot of 3.5 to 4, 4.25 pound fish for Seth Fighter today. That means everything. I mean, honestly, Stetson Blaylock's probably caught almost as many fish as Seth Fighter, but catching those 4-pounders goes a long way versus catching those 2-pounders.
I guess if you knew this, how do you catch the bigger fish here? How do you target? You see them on your electronics, or what is it, Davey?
More so, a lot of places a change of bait will change the quality of fish, but at St. Clair, it's like you're around classes of fish. You just got to find a different area, a different school of bass.
Take a look at our full 85 angler field here and the way they are spread out around Lake St. Clair. Lighter colored water, the darker that you did see on your left, that's Canadian water. They can't be fishing there. Some guys are going right up to the edge for sure. And why wouldn't you? But you're getting less than half of Lake St. Clair available to our anglers, which is still a lot of water. And one thing I was noticing, we're talking about people catching the same amount of fish with different poundage. Nobody's catching huge numbers, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And you look at that, it looks like these fishermen are a lot closer together than they actually are. That's a lot of area there.
All right. Understand now that we're going to be able to get in touch with our colleague, Mark Zona. And Z, where do we find you now?
Basically, we're just outside of our takeoff right now, Tommy. Camera gal Ashley was out there with Chad Morgentaler for a long time, and I'll get into that in a second. But if you want to talk about really our Yamaha Unlock the Lake, is a lot of people ask what makes Lake St. Clair so good. And there's really 3 factors. Number 1 is a massive, massive food base. The forage in this lake is spread from one end to the other. The other side, it's a giant flat. Basically, it's the nursery. They're able to spawn, live, stay, and really live their entire life in Lake St. Clair. But number 3 is probably the most critical, and it's what makes fishing so good, is the current in this lake. Really, this lake is a giant funnel where the North Channel, Middle Channel, and South Channel all dump into Lake St. Clair. That water comes from Lake Huron, comes through St. Clair, goes through the Detroit River into Lake Erie. And here's the great thing about the current in this lake, especially this year with the high water. There's so much water moving through this lake, it groups the fish up really well. It positions them where you could literally make the same cast at a time and catch them. The negative of current is if that food leaves, if that forage leaves, that current will make those fish leave right with the food. So the current really is a blessing and a curse. And I'm going to throw one other thing in there, guys. Basically, there's about 8 hours of summer left in the state of Michigan, and looking at the wind forecast and how nice it's going to be the rest of the weekend, I want you to think of the scene from Caddyshack out on the water. You are going to see that tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. Trust me on that one.
So Z, speaking of current, we've seen Jay Ellis lead for a big part of the day, and he's in an area there that, and smallmouth love current, but it looks like Jay Ellis is in probably some of the less current in the entire Lake St. Clair available to fish.
There was a pretty healthy amount of current actually coming through there. Davey, it's a spot where and I'll talk to you later tonight, but he is right off of one of the main arteries of the North Channel, okay? And the other side about what Jay Ellis is really doing, he is fishing the same way 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when you came to Lake St. Clair, you tied on a spinnerbait or a lipless crankbait, and you just went and chucked around in 3 to 5 feet of water, hoping to catch a big sack of smallmouth. Here's the benefit right now of what Jay Ellis is doing. Nobody else is doing it. Everybody is out there pretty much staring at their electronics, or they're up in the river, and he has about a 2 to 3 mile stretch. And when I say just off of one of the channels, like I'm talking like 50 yards, Davey. Here's the only thing I'm worried about with Jay Ellis. He said that there was wolf packs there of maybe 2 or 3 smallmouth. You know, when he'd catch one, he'd say, you know, I'd see another 1 or 2. Will that reload like the guys that are fishing deeper? Traditionally, when you're fishing deeper this time of year, it has a tendency to reload a little better. With that being said, a lot of the tournaments, August and September, they are won in 8 foot of water or less, but a lot of that water is off limits in Canada.
All right, good stuff, Z. It gives us a lot to look forward to, a lot of ways to maybe start to figure out what's going to happen, what the arc of this tournament is going to be. Mark Zona out there, and kudos to Mark for getting cameraman Ashley Wages, camera person Ashley Wages in the boat with Chad
New
Morgan.
leader,
Taylor.
Corey Johnston there, 21 even.
Jamie Hartman hooked up with only 2 fish in the live well.
Crucial.
Huge.
Critical.
Really taking his time, like it's another good one. We saw him catch one that looked like a 5-pounder earlier today. They didn't record it as quite that big, but
it's a bass. Yeah, if he can just stay on.
wow.
Holy cow, that took a long time.
Nice fish.
Wow. Weird. Straight up weird, dude. Or I can just drift this for the next freaking 2 hours.
All right, Jamie Hartman now with the game plan, third keeper. Very critical right there. Puts him in a better position, but he's got more work to do, and he's going to use the drift in that spot, he said, for the next couple of hours. We'll be right back to see how that works out.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Your time on the water is precious. You return season after season to make unforgettable memories. Fight a few fish, reconnect with friends, and recenter yourself. If you count on having this time, you need an outboard you can count on to power it. That's why boaters stay with Yamaha for the long run, for life. They know reliability starts here.
groundbreaking designs, unsurpassed quality, and unshakable confidence. Welcome to the Ranger Z500 and Z100 series. Leading the industry for over 50 years, these rigs are custom crafted and loaded with more features and advantages to deliver the ultimate ownership experience. The legendary Ranger Z series. Unleash next level performance. Mercury, go boldly.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
Got 3/4 of an hour left to share with you some of the great fishing that's going on right now, this first day of the YETI Bassmaster Elite on fantastic Lake St. Clair. Corey Johnston, the Canadian, has taken over the lead. Half a pound advantage over Ray Hanselman from way down in Texas, Jay Ellis from out in Oregon, and John Cox from Florida. I think we got all four corners close to being covered right there.
Everywhere except Michigan,
North
where we're
America,
at.
Yeah. We just don't have any Michigan guys in their career. Well, yeah, right now. I mean, that's going to change. Certainly it's going to change.
Thanks to Ronnie, right? Thanks to Ronnie picking Pipkins.
Speaking of Michigan, Chad Pipkins.
Yeah, here's our chance. Chad Pipkins hooked up live, yeah.
No 5-pounder like they were, but hey. It's okay. Where you going, girl? We like her enthusiasm, getting it on the fall. Come here, girl. Come here. Where you at?
Heard him say you like their enthusiasm getting it on the fall. That meant when he made his first cast, the fish ate it on the way to the bottom. That's always a great sign.
Working against the current. Wants to be big. They're gonna have to get a lot bigger, but hey. I caught big ones here. I know there's some big ones. Man, he just gotta look into one of them.
It's amazing. He just hasn't been around the right size fish today. He had a good practice.
Tiny ones to get rid of.
Like you said,
I think we're just going to keep doing this until it's over.
It's just a
I need 2 more bites.
Flat bowl.
I don't know if I can go over there 4 miles over and get 2 bites. I don't know. I don't know if they're there. There was nothing there this morning, and I mean nothing.
We gotta get rid of all these anyway, right?
Hartman hooked up. Still only 3 in the live well?
Yep. This will be number 4 if he can land it.
You know, the switch been turned on. There's guys like Bill Weiler just caught a 5-pounder, and Cody Howland caught a 4-pounder. So the big ones are starting to bite.
Get away from that motor. Oh, it's a peanut. Come here. Yeah. Big time.
Hey,
Come
it
on.
might not be a lot, guys, but that's 5 pounds he didn't have just a few minutes ago with that 3.5 and that 1.5 pounds are right here. That's 2 fish for 5 pounds he didn't have.
No doubt about it. That fish could make the difference in him having a chance for AOI or not.
We'll have an ESPN2 Thursday MLB matinee for you. The Tigers, how about that? And the White Sox squaring off on the south side at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. And like everything else, you can also watch it on the ESPN app. So an even bigger sports day for Detroit. It's coming up right next. That's right after we are done here. So stick around for that. The action will keep coming. Jamie Hartman needs no more peanuts. He's got a peanut allergy. He needs some big bass in there. But as Ronnie said, he's got 5 he didn't have. His catch rate is going up now. We saw him go for the longest time without hooking up at all.
He needed 3 bites in the last 2 hours, and now he only needs 1 more bite to just get to do your minimum job of bring 5 in. He would love to get rid of the
go
one.
back through there. I think more perch. I need my bonus fish that I can see off the graph and catch them. And I ain't been able to drop on one in forever. Perch.
Boy, you see
his rod
Perch
tip.
pulling his rod down. Yep.
That you're talking about Clifford Perch, Elite Series Pro. I thought you were saying he was pulling his rod down.
How is Clifford doing? He was one of the. A lot of people were picking him.
So far.
Yeah.
Not happening, huh?
No, he had 1 for 4 earlier, and he still has 1
He's still
for
there,
4.
71st
But
place, but his fast track's dead.
Hasn't pinged since 9:30.
Oh, so could be a different story.
There's something about that little area right there that's got them fish. I don't know what it is. I mean, I ain't got time right now to go looking for other fish, so or to see if they're all the way down here. Well, let's spin back around and go back up.
So you can just hear in Jamie Hartman's voice, he knows he's not in the top 10 in this event.
Oh, yeah.
But he knows he needs to survive. He needs to catch 1 more good solid fish to fill out his limit to have a chance to rebound tomorrow. The pressure never ends, whether you're in contention to win or just in contention to live for another day of fishing.
There's a lot of calls going on right now. Chris Johnston with a 4-pounder. Harvey Horn with a 4-pounder. Both in our top 10.
We can find them, we can catch them quick. Easier said than done. Come on, girls, show us where you at. Seeing some stuff now. Here we go. Come on. We ready for you.
A little surprised not to see Seth Fighter throwing a crankbait more. We saw him catch all those big fish last year on it. And
we need some magic.
What, about an hour ago he caught a fish or 2 on a crankbait. I thought he would have it
I to catch them.
in his hand the rest of the day. But
You don't want to disappoint your daddy.
I think that goes for any sport or any activity. You don't want to disappoint your daddy, like Shed 50 just said.
That's all good.
You're going to say, who's your daddy, man?
Little fish care here for Seth Fighter.
We've had some fans asking whether people are going to use ice or not. That water temperature is mid-70s. I've got reports from the guys.
Is it? Okay.
Normally, water temperature doesn't really it's not a big deal after the spawn up north. It doesn't get too hot. Down here it's in the 90s or high 80s. Up there 75. But the thing that's interesting about Fighter and other guys, the pool noodles in their live well.
Play with it.
Davey, you're probably one that can maybe talk with experience. When it gets
Dirty.
rough on the Great Lakes, those pool noodles help cushion the bass, make them from sloshing around,
Need a
hitting
bass.
plastic in the sides of the
Seems
live
like a
wells and
mini
stuff as much,
sturgeon.
Yep.
keeping them safe.
Yep.
That's what we're.
We've got the guys out there with an hour and a half fishing time. On average, out there, they went out to 4 different flights. And as it stands right now, unofficially, day 1 here, Corey Johnston with the lead. Half a pound ahead of Ray Hanselman. Jay Ellis right behind. Cox, the other Johnston, Chad Morgan Taylor, Seth Fighter, Mosley, Harvey Horn back in the top 10.
Yeah,
Paul
as you
Mueller
look, it's,
sighting, 14th place, almost 18 pounds. He just
great
showed up.
tournament for him, and he needed one. We'll see Bill Lowen move up the AOY standings as this year progresses, no doubt about it. Clark Winlet down, tied for 17th. Maybe he just hasn't updated. He had that 17 pounds early.
Well,
this
way
morning.
early. Yeah, like 9 o'clock, before 9 o'clock.
Look how many 16, 16, 16, 16, 16, 2. That's
God.
going to be
Just-
ounces, just like Champlain was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's why you saw Seth Fighter, the noodles in his live well, adding a little ice. Fish care is so important. 4-ounce penalty for a dead fish. These guys do everything they can to keep these fish alive and healthy.
Gerald Swindle, who we talked to first thing this morning, hanging in there in 39th place, but boy, below that, after 40, if you're not there tomorrow, you're on the road back home. Got to be in the top 40 after tomorrow's fishing. But there's plenty of time between now and then to make things look a little better if they've been slow so far. We'll take a break and be right back.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
I'm pro angler Andy Montgomery. I've been making my living with Strike King products for a long time. So when they showed me the new tour grade line, I was all in. I knew I could trust it. What I didn't know was how easy it was to use. With the spooling tool and the prepaid envelope to recycle your old line included in every single box. Not only is it the best line on the market, it gives you the easiest fishing experience possible. Find out more at StrikeKing.com.
Fish and win with Skeeter Real Money. Fish out of your Skeeter boat, win a Skeeter approved contingency paying event, and you could add $5,000 to your winnings. Just enter, fish, and win. It's that easy. Rules and conditions apply. Visit SkeeterBoats.com and click the Real Money logo to register and learn more, or visit your local Skeeter dealer. Fish, win, get paid up to $5,000. Go to SkeeterBoats.com and see why now is the best time to enter, fish, and win with Skeeter Real Money.
Want to know the difference between power bait and other soft plastics? Ask the fish. Berkeley scientists have thousands of flavors tested on thousands of fish. Natural, man-made, every bait that's ever hit the water. No matter the shape, size, or color, power bait is the only one that is scientifically proven. Fish bite and will not let go.
You're watching the YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair, being brought to you live by Carhartt.
The incredible Lake St. Clair. What a place. Such a flat part of the country right here. You never realize it until you come up here and actually visit. It is a very, very flat plain, and Lake St. Clair sort of mirrors that topography for sure. It is a very shallow lake, big, bold, natural lake, been around for hundreds of thousands of years. Corey Johnston, your leader, the Canadian. His brother Chris Johnston in 5th place. Ray Hanselman in 2nd. Jay Ellis, John Cox, Seth Fighter, Brock Mosley, Harvey Horn, Shane LeHue. You very capable angler. He proved that last year. Great campaign for trying to make Rookie of the Year. Didn't quite get there. Let's see, 7th place now, Seth Fighter. We've been with him in the boat all day long. Let's go, let's get out amongst our 8. There he is right there, Seth Fighter.
Been catching them steady all day long.
No giant. Nobody's been catching giant numbers amongst our sampling.
I'm lying. It'd be fun though.
What's your wife's name?
Dayton.
Dayton was all over that.
Yeah. Oh. There he is. Came back and got it. He's big, but he ain't gonna help. Well, he slacked it the first time. I don't know, maybe he will help. God, he looks kind of huge right there, doesn't he?
Oh, I'd say.
Barely got it. Oh boy. Now he's gonna fight. I can't tell how big he is. I don't know if it's a 3.5 or a Magnum.
God, it looks bigger than 3.5.
So long and skinny, it's hard to judge him.
Oh. These waves make it interesting getting these fish with a mouthful of treble hooks in the boat.
Ooh.
Come here. What a nice one. I don't know if he's gonna help.
Smallmouth is so beautiful coming out of that clear water.
How they change in the live well
Aqua
sometimes.
blue,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
This Bass Track has 3 at 3 pounds, 12 ounces.
That one doesn't help. You're doing all right from day one on Lake St. Clair.
Exactly.
We know that music.
Mm-hmm.
What is that music?
Yeah. Oh, it's that music.
That's got to be the Mercury Move of the Day music, isn't it?
Well, I guess Seth Fighter is the nominee.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely has to be. He's been not any one movement like in the last 20 minutes, but he's moved all day long. He's just been catching fish steady all day long. And the big difference, and the reason why Seth Fighter has to be the move of the day, we've not seen him catch those 2-pounders like so many of our other anglers that we have cameras with. Every fish that he's caught he's been in the 3-pound class all the way up to 4.5 pounds. So Seth Fighter, you are the Mercury Move of the Day for catching fish all day long.
It's a pretty good quality standard as well, and that makes this a great day for Seth Fighter for sure.
Seen some other boats. Yes,
sir.
It's not been
anywhere
fishing all alone by himself, just showing what a good quality fisherman he is. When you see a guy get on a special rock pile or some type of structure and catch fish every cast, it's great that he found that, but you just think, wow, you could throw a donut out there and catch one. But when you see an angler fishing around other fishermen throughout the day like we have today with Seth Fighter, he's just showing his angling skills, and he's just been able to catch those quality fish around some other fishermen.
There's your TH Marine current conditions on our weather watch, 79 degrees. It's gone down a couple of degrees of temperature. The wind, 7 miles an hour. It's a little bit more relaxed than it was before, early, around noontime today. It'll be a little warmer tomorrow generally, and the wind about the same as we've had today, which is not too much. You said you can get around, you can fish, so hey, what's not to like?
Yeah, that 7 mile an hour is just perfect. It gives you, it'll break the light penetration up a little bit there, so it's not slick calm, which make those smallmouth very wary of the boat. But then you can run around anywhere you want to. Be interesting to watch weigh in and see how many anglers, none of the ones we have cameras with today, but how many anglers actually maybe went St. Clair River or even Lake Huron.
Yeah, or the Detroit River. I haven't seen many representations of anglers in the Detroit River today either. They can go all the way down to the Ambassador Bridge, I guess.
It's a lot closer to St. Clair than I thought it was. There's multiple bridges in Detroit River, and I thought it was one of the ones farther away, closer to Erie, but it is much closer to St. Clair. So they probably have about 2 miles worth of Detroit River, and then the entirety of the St. Clair River on the U.S. side, and then Huron. I'm shocked I didn't see anybody at the mouth of Huron, where it's been one before here.
Right. Predators are coming.
Jamie Hartman stuck at 10 pounds and 8 ounces, which is better than what he was stuck at an hour and 15 minutes ago. But still, he's got work to do.
False alarm.
He needs a 4-pounder.
Oh, boy.
Fill out his limit. It would save his chances.
Yeah, he's got a little more riding on it, and that he's the leader angler of the year points, too. You don't want to miss out on 2 days of fishing any tournament from here on out, because that could...
Well, when all else fails, drag your junk on the bottom of St. Clair, and you'll get bit.
A little cluster dismantled.
Not a visual of land in our 4-box right now.
I was going to say, it's a
vast Atlantic Ocean. I mean Lake St. Clair, sorry.
It's kind of a testament. I mean, the electronics obviously fill in a lot of the blanks, but it's a testament to the imagination of these guys, because you're out there floating in space. I mean, you have to put trust in knowledge that you've put together sort of by triangulating things through the years, and you know, anyone can look at a point and kind of figure out where it runs under the water. You don't have points out here.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Tom. And it's easier than it was 20 years ago, but it's still there's a lot of water there. And it seems like watching Seth Fighter catch fish all day long that you can just randomly drift around and catch fish, but it's not that easy.
No, you got to go find them. Easy. You're floating out there in space, and you got to keep on task, that's for sure.
So on the top of our screen, left and right, it's a little different going on. Both of these guys not having the days that we expected them to have, but don't count them out at all, because they both have the potential to have 20 pounds and before they go to weigh in. But Jamie Hartman was looking for fish with his electronics and throwing to patches of grass, that sort of thing. Now he is just drifting. Not the drift sock like years ago, but he's just keeping his bait down there in the strike zone, drifting along, trying to cover as much water as he can with that drop shot. Chad Pipkins there on your right is still casting, looking at his electronics, casting to fish potentially, but also to targets like patches of grass, maybe boulders, that sort of thing. So both with drop shots, but two different approaches late in the day because they're struggling. keep in mind, both of them told me they had days where they had 20-plus pounds in practice.
Oh.
So it's got to be so frustrating to them right now. But also, on a positive note, they know how quick it can turn around, a couple of 5-pounders.
Happen in a minute.
Am I still on
Slim
live?
back if it ain't gonna work.
Great. Everybody's waiting for me to catch one.
About sizes it up, Jamie.
Believe me, I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm definitely trying.
Speaking of trying, one thing that's been a trying year is scheduling all these events with COVID. A lot of lakes and states and things have changed for 2020. Just announced today the Opens moved the Eastern Open that was rescheduled at Oneida Lake in New York. We moved it to the first week of December, December 3rd through the 5th at Lay Lake. That will now cap off our Eastern Opens division, which, if you don't know the Opens, that is the funnel system, the feeder to the professional fishing level on the Bassmaster Elite Series. So we've got 2 divisions of those, 4 events in each. We have one have been completed in each division. So a lot of fishing left, and we have Bassmaster Live on the final day of those as well.
Lay Lake in December. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We've been there in February before.
Yeah, February.
Been there in like July before.
Yeah. That place is spotted bass and largemouth.
Yes.
So we'll get the full array of species over this whole Bassmaster season.
So what a crazy year we're having, and we have had. To sign up for a Bassmaster Open event that you think you're going to participate in Lake Oneida, New York, and it gets moved to
in
Lay
June
Lake,
or
Alabama.
July.
Yeah. A little change there.
So we're going to get all the regular season events in on both. Okay,
really
on
thought I
Eastern
could
and
do
Central.
like
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
17, 18 each day, pretty easy. But that stuff I had out there, that's without a big fish. Boy, oh boy, change the wind and look what happens.
So I just got a text from our tournament director, Trip Weldon, who knows Lay Lake like the back of his hand, and he's saying that December could definitely be a spotted bass derby.
Don't you think?
Yeah. We had a great one a couple of years ago to end the season at Logan Martin. Tough weights for some of the field, but some of those drops and those river eddies, you know, where they can load up there. Whoever caught them, it caught a bunch of them. That's where it was eventually won.
It's going to decide a lot of anglers' fate for the next season, is it not, Ronnie?
Yeah, the top 4 in the Eastern Opens and the Central Opens, in those points races, the top 4 make it to the Bassmaster Elite Series. And then also, if you fish all 8, you are entered to win a top 4 spot there. And so 12 guys qualifying for next year's Elites.
Where everyone wants to be, the Bassmaster Elite Series. That's the top of the game. That's who we have. 85 of them out there today, day 1. We'll have 85 out there tomorrow as well. Corey Johnston, the Canadian, in his 2nd year on the Bassmaster Elite Series. It's the man with the lead right now. Half a pound ahead of Ray Hanselman. We got more fishing on the way, though. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is being brought to you live by Carhartt.
When I'm on the road for work or for fun, I always like to have a reliable generator around. This open frame inverter from Champion is ideal because it's lighter than a standard open frame generator and more affordable than a traditional inverter. The remote start helps me start up the generator or shut it off without having to leave my camper. It provides essential power for things like charging my boat batteries. Also makes life a lot more comfortable for myself and my family.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at work. Getting you to that fishing spot is key. And Bully Dog gets your truck road ready. No matter where, we give you the horsepower and towing torque right when you need it. We make getting there better. Make your ride a Bully Dog.
You don't know their names yet, but you will.
The YETI Bassmaster Elite at Lake St. Clair is brought to you by Abu Garcia, Berkeley, Nitro Boats, and by Ranger Boats.
Just a few minutes left in our broadcast today, but we got more Bassmaster Live for you tomorrow. That is to be sure. Going to be streaming starting at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. 8:30 a.m. We'll pick up here on ESPN2. Take our midday break at 10 and be back at 11 Eastern Time to go all the way to 2 Eastern. So we'll have a full plate of fishing for you today, and it has been a full plate so far today. Think about some of the big catches we have seen so far, the big performances we've seen. Corey Johnston, whom Ronnie Moore just mentioned, claimed to have a terrible practice, or at least a couple of terrible practice days. He's a man who, ironically, is on top of our leaderboard right now. Ray Hanselman from down in Texas, Jay Ellis, John Cox, and Chris Johnston. So 2 Johnstons hogging some of the top 5 there for sure.
I argue John Cox may end up with the lead. A blog, our photographer, got out there and said his smallest is a 4.9. He's got 2 5-pounders.
All right, Seth Fighter, also in our top 10, hooked up live right now.
Look at that crankbait, just gone.
Boy, this fish. They look so big in the water, they're just thin.
Yeah,
they're just when you pick them up, you just realize they've not put that weight back on.
Yes, sir.
It's a nice fish.
Yes, sir.
Gotta help him.
Good long one there.
That'll come. Don't stick a hook in my hand. I think I got 20 now.
Drew Benton there.
They get up off the bottom around noon? No? Started catching them on a plow ground, then I figured they'd been up. He's pretty skinny, but dang is he long. Longer than my leg.
Gotta help him.
4-pounder. Now that balance beam don't matter.
So that's a 4-pounder. It'll help him, but boy, they just look bigger when they're in the water. Pick them up and you see that they're just lean.
Will that be enough to get him to 20, Such?
He says he's at 20 at least, so yeah, I think so.
I think he's been at 20 for about 4 hours.
Okay.
Who's in charge of Bass Track?
Ronnie.
Eric Kafka in his boat, texting us saying that we claimed he was a sandbag.
Seth Fighter, definitely having a great day. Just been steady all day long with a crankbait and a drop shot.
Going to move on from Seth Fighter. Been with him. He's been in that top 10 all day long. Great job by Seth. Doing the work that needs to be done if you're going to make a campaign to win this big one here on St. Clair. Destin DeMarion, one of the guys we're looking to do well here today, and he certainly gave us a thrill today, Davey.
He certainly has done that. Had a slower start than we expected. I talked to Destin last night. He had one really good day of practice, and it's been a slower day than expected, I guess is the best way to describe it. But we have to give him Power Pole replay of the day for this one catch. Hopefully he'll get another one or two like it this afternoon, but Destin DeMarion, you're our Power Pole replay of the day for this 5.5 pound beautiful Lake St. Clair smallmouth.
Look at that thing. Oh my gosh.
That changes your momentum of the day there.
Yeah, it certainly changed his mood, made the boat a happy place for Destin DeMarion. Still, Jamie Hartman, who put a similar sized one in the boat. Both these guys need to get on their horse a little bit, get some more poundage in the boat. They've got some time to do it. They've got an hour.
They do, but it's just St. Clair can be brutal. You catch a few of those in practice, you get a lot of confidence in there, you go back in the tournament, and Jamie Hartman and Destin have only been able to put those one each quality St. Clair smallmouth.
They're still one shy of a limit, both of them.
Wow. But both of them, if they catch another one of those, right in the thick of it.
They're made well.
One more bite.
DeMarion for sure.
Thrashed him. I just can't get him to bite. Dropped on a couple, drug through some, trying to crank here once, and I'm gonna get upwind and just do the slow, painful drag and close my eyes. Yeah, it's been working well. I've been catching them, throwing a couple different crankbaits depending on the depth I'm at, and those big active ones just knock slacking it and get it. And I've only caught a couple like that today, and they've been small, but I've been able to drag and practice, drag and drop on them, like a couple little finesse worm deals and a little darter thing, and it's been frustrating. You know, I know this can happen out here. That's why this lake's fun, but it can frustrate you because they slide on you. And I know I'm close to them. I've seen a couple big ones get caught. They just haven't been where I've caught them. I'm trying to explore a little bit. You got to refine them each day with this wind, the bait moves. So bait moves, bass move. We just got to get on them. But I'm seeing enough here to feel like I should catch some dang big ones because they're down there. Yeah, this is just a little painted one up. Me and Greg colored them up yesterday. Looks kind of like a tasty little perch. Well, the stripes are coming off a little bit. Regurgitated perch, baby. Easy meal. Been able to catch them on it, but you just got to make it happen.
It's interesting to watch these
I'm gonna idle back up there. We'll drag
different anglers throw their crankbaits and the different retrieves. He's obviously a fast stop and go retrieve. Seth Fighter just a steady, not even a fast retrieve.
One more crankbait
we saw
cast across here.
Stetson Blaylock, mixing it up with a little stop and go. It's just very interesting when you get on a smallmouth lake and see all the different retrieves that seem to work for certain anglers.
Tyler Rivette with a big afternoon, big past half hour, a 4.5 and a 5-pounder. He's up to 19.6, ninth place.
Wow. Now, you were asked this morning, Davey, about making changes that suddenly cause them to bite a little better. I think the subject was Stetson Blaylock and not getting that crankbait properly. When you start to experiment with speeds on retrieves, do you try faster more often than you try slower or stop and start?
Great question. With smallmouth, I think faster sometimes to trigger. Largemouth are different. Largemouth typically stop or slower if you're having that problem. But with smallmouth, definitely I think faster. As our lakes have been more pressured offshore for largemouth, there are times when I do want a faster retrieve there. You see anglers, and we heard Stetson talking about the gear ratio of the reels. You've always seen people reel their crankbaits fast. David Fritz, back in the day, he's using a 4.3 to 1 gear ratio reel a lot. Now you see anglers using 6, 7, and even 8 to 1 gear ratio reels, reeling that same speed, which that bait is moving twice as fast.
Yeah.
The gear ratio, let's say a 4.3 to 1, the spool turns over 4.3 times per one revolution of the reel handle. So a 4.3 versus Stetson was using like a 7.3, I think he said. The same, you see the same rate of speed for turning that handle, but that bait is moving almost twice as fast.
Yeah, 40% faster, yeah.
So it's a big deal, and when you're watching and you want to learn more about these anglers, and you see Seth, the way he's reeling, just a steady, but it all depends on what gear ratio reel he is, because he could have a 4.3 to 1, or he could have an 8 or 9 to 1. But it looks like the higher the gear ratio, that gear makes it harder to turn the handle, so it's more work for you. So you don't see a lot of guys use over a 7 to 1.
It's also important to note that for the largemouth lakes down south, when your crankbait hits the bottom, you can slow your reel and let it keep dredging the bottom. But here, you don't want it to touch the bottom. You keep it at that speed right above where you're trying to get to.
Yes. And a lot of the stop and go here with the crankbait, because you're not deflecting off of the bottom. Or
and then following, or whatever smallmouth like to do at the boat.
Metro Park in the background, that's where the weigh-in's going to take place in a little more than an hour's time here. Our last look at the unofficial leaderboard here. Go a little deep into that right now. Corey Johnston, the man on top. It'll be fun to be in the boat with Corey tomorrow and see what he's up to. Oh, yeah. He's always a lot of laughs and very much tells us what's on his mind.
And he does, and he also always seems to be in the hunt when we're looking at smallmouth fisheries.
Bill Lowen there, making a good showing here. 17th place right now. Chance to move up. Frank Talley. Micah Frazier, you always look at Micah Frazier. He just seems to, steadily climb up most leaderboards he's involved in after the first day or two of fishing. Randy Sullivan, a good fast start today. Kind of plateaued out around 16.5, but he's got some more time as well. Matt Heron.
Chris Groh just made a big jump with our biggest fish of the day so far, entered in Bass Track a 6-1.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's meaningful. He's going to be up
big
within that cut line probably on the basis of that
right
one.
Now.
Yeah.
Hope we get to see that.
Yeah. Luke Palmer, 40th place with that tie for 39th. Jake Whitaker, the man on the bubble, and right below that, Garrett Paquette. Boy, Michigan angler would not be happy to not make the cut here on St. Clair.
Seth Fighter hooks up again. Oh, that was earlier. Chad Pipkins here. So it looks like a 3-pound plus average to stay middle of the pack is going to be the standard for today.
Holy cow, that took a long time.
Anglers.
Guys right at the cut line, 15 above it and 15 below the 40 cut.
We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Times when the streaming starts. We join you here on ESPN2 at 8:30 a.m. We'll go to 10. Be down for an hour and back up at 11 a.m. on ESPN2 for the remaining 3 hours of coverage tomorrow at this YETI Elite and the Bassmaster Elite Series. Fabulous Lake St. Clair. What does it hold for us tomorrow? We'll find out, and we will see you then.